Are you ready? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Broadcasting live from the Newsmax studios, this is the Steve Malzberg Show. Be a part of the action by calling 855-777-9660. That's 855-777-9660. Or email Steve at malzbergshow@newsmax.com. Here is Steve Malzberg.
I realize that in the end, many of my
Are you ready?
I realize that in the end, many of my fellow conservatives will not be able to support this reform. But I hope you will understand that I honestly believe that it's the right thing to do for this country. To finally have an immigration system that works, to finally have a fence, to finally have more agents and E-Verify, and to finally put an end to de facto amnesty. In my heart and in my mind, I know that we must solve this problem once and for all.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's Marco Rubio yesterday addressing his fellow conservatives on the floor of the Senate. We're about 53 minutes away or so from the final vote on immigration reform in the Senate. And joining us right now to talk about that and much, much more, including his brand new book, Why John Roberts Was Wrong About Health Care, is Senator Mike Lee, Republican, Utah. Hello, sir. How are you, Senator?
Doing great. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you for coming on with us. It's a big day. I don't consider it a happy day. I have a feeling you're not going to be voting with Marco Rubio and the majority in the Senate. What will this vote mean once the votes are counted and this passes, sir?
Well, I think it will mean that it goes over to the House of Representatives, where it will be essentially dead on arrival. The House of Representatives has made clear that they want to do this the right way, which is through a step-by-step approach. And
you agree with that, obviously. And your first concern, I believe, is border security, correct?
Yeah, my first concern is border security. I mean, look, this needs to be done in several steps. We need a border security bill. We need a bill dealing with visa modernization to bring our legal immigration system into the 21st century. We've been mired in old, outdated laws that don't really meet the needs of our economy very well. We need to update these things and make sure that we fix the underlying problem of illegal immigration. We need to do that before we jump to what they're trying to do here, which is to start at the front end with a pathway to citizenship for those who have broken our laws.
Senator, are you disappointed in your fellow Republicans, the ones who will be on board for this? Do you buy into the notion that Republicans have to do this to save the party, to win the presidency, to gain a bigger percentage of the Hispanic vote? Or do you agree with the Pew Research poll that polled Hispanics coming out of the polling place in 2012, and immigration reform was number 4 or 5 on their list of priorities?
Yeah, I tend to agree that this is fairly low on the list of voter priorities. And I do disagree with my fellow Republicans who have said we just have to do this. I mean, yeah, sure, we need immigration reform, but this bill is not going to get us there. What this bill is going to do is it's going to grant amnesty to 11 million people, perhaps more, and it's going to make promises about visa modernization and border security, but we're not going to necessarily achieve border security because those things are after the fact. Those things will be accomplished, if at all, only many years after we've already put 11 million people on a pathway to citizenship. It's virtually certain.
Yeah, and there are so many amendments, so many provisions in this bill that we keep finding out about. Now we read that ICE will have to stop deportation of criminals who are illegals and give them 2.5 years to apply for citizenship. I mean, all kinds of crazy things that, you know, I don't know how anybody voting for this could possibly know that it's in the bill.
That's right. Look, they took a 1,000-page bill, which was complex enough in and of itself, and over the last weekend, they substituted it for a significantly different 1,200-page bill. And, Monday they came back and immediately demanded on a vote for this 1,200-page bill that very few senators had read and even fewer could claim fully to understand. So, the process behind this bill gives me additional reasons to oppose it.
Senator, you're on the Foreign Relations Committee, and I want you to hear a soundbite from Barack Obama in Senegal earlier today talking about Edward Snowden. Major Garrett of CBS News asked him if he would be planning or willing to scramble jets if a plane was over U.S. airspace that had Snowden on board, since we're not getting any cooperation in extradition efforts, in order to legally snatch him from the air and bring him back to the U.S. And here's what he said, cut 25.
No, I'm not going to be scrambling jets to get a 29-year-old hacker.
Should he have said that? Should he have revealed what he would or wouldn't do? And calling him a 29-year-old hacker certainly doesn't convey a sense of urgency to the people he's trying to get to honor extradition treaties, or people like Russia who he wants to have cooperate with us.
Yeah, look, I'm not sure why he would signal publicly what he would or wouldn't do. And I don't know what his strategy was there. Perhaps he's got something else up his sleeve that we're not aware of. But that doesn't seem to me, on its face, to be something that's wise to say what he would or wouldn't do. Nor do I think this is the case of a simple hacker. Now, look, a lot of people feel differently about Mr. Snowden. Some people love the guy and are willing to praise him. Other people are scared to death of him and want him locked up. But regardless of how you feel about him, the fact that he's been charged here in the United States should mean something to us. The fact that he is alleged to possess something like 4 computer hard drives that have a lot of additional sensitive classified material, and that he may be willing to give this to our enemies, is itself potentially a big, huge problem. And so that's another reason why the president's statement surprises me a little bit, because I would think he wouldn't refer to him as just a 29-year-old hacker.
Absolutely. We're talking to Senator Mike Lee, and we're going to get to his book in a second, Why John Roberts Was Wrong About Health Care. But one more, Russia won't cooperate with us. China and Hong Kong wouldn't cooperate with us and honor a treaty. Now, Ecuador is spitting in our face, saying that they're being defiant in the face of warnings not to grant asylum to Snowden if, in fact, he heads there. They're actually turning away U.S. trade benefits and saying, we're not going to extradite him. I thought the world was going to open up their arms to the great Barack Obama, and it was the evil George Bush that made countries not like us, and Obama was going to change all that, and everyone would love us. Why is everyone giving us such a hard time?
Yeah, well, that has caught up with him. And as it turns out, not everyone is doing as he suggested they would do now that he's been president of the United States for 4.5 years. So that is a problem. This problem is much broader than that.
Okay, let's talk about your book, and first weigh in, if you will, sir. John Roberts was on. I would think you would say on the correct side of the issues yesterday in the 2 rulings on Prop 8 and on DOMA. Maybe you wouldn't say that. I mean, I don't know. Maybe you think that he should have taken his tougher stand and addressed Prop 8. But what were your takes on yesterday's rulings?
Well, I think he was right on DOMA, and I don't think he was right on Prop 8. I think there's a problem with the fact that you've got basically a friendly suit in California. The people who brought the suit and the people who were defending the state against the suit were both on the same page. They both wanted the law to go down in flames, and I think that creates a precedent-setting problem when you say, in that circumstance, I guess no one has standing to defend the law. And so you've got the federal judicial authority being used potentially to invalidate or at least make less meaningful a law passed within a state. And so, yeah, I'm not willing to say that Chief Justice Roberts got it right yesterday, at least not on the Proposition 8 case. And
of course, by virtue of the name of your book, Why John Roberts Was Wrong About Health Care, a conservative critique of the Supreme Court's Obamacare ruling. I know you think he was wrong, as I do, on Obamacare. And what this is setting up, people don't even have a clue what lies ahead, whether you're an elderly patient, a young patient, a business owner. Every aspect of our society is going to be devastated, in my opinion, by what John Roberts has helped bring to this country.
That's right, and that's why I wrote why John Roberts was wrong about health care. I wanted to come up with an easy-to-read, inexpensive book. You can buy it for about $3.99, I think, on Amazon, that would explain to people what the Supreme Court did when it upheld Obamacare, why they ought to be concerned with the fact that the court rewrote it not just once but twice in order to uphold it, thus putting in place a document that is very different than the one that Congress actually enacted, and what they can do about it moving forward.
Well, why do you think he, according to many accounts, changed his mind the way he did on Obamacare?
This is one of the many questions I tend to address in the book, and as we have just passed the one-year anniversary of this horrible ruling, we can remember what happened in the few weeks leading up to that ruling last year. If you remember, there were a lot of people, a lot of Democrats in the Senate who, along with the White House, appeared to be engaged in something of a coordinated campaign to try to signal to the Chief Justice that he would be ridiculed publicly and privately if, in fact, he was part of a decision to invalidate Obamacare. Now, at the time, I didn't think that Chief Justice Roberts was vulnerable to that sort of thing. But as it turned out, I guess he might have been, because a lot of fairly credible press reports have indicated that, based on some rare inside sources within the Supreme Court, they concluded that Chief Justice Roberts initially was voting to invalidate Obamacare, as the law and the facts of the case required, but then he changed his mind. He changed his mind apparently about the same time that this public campaign started against the Chief Justice.
Let me ask you a question, which may be really off the beaten path here, but do you fear, and I'm not asking you to be specific to that case at all, but do you fear that with all the NSA revelations, which you may feel personally are necessary for our safety, but nonetheless, do you fear that this leaves people in all walks of government open to blackmail?
Well, of course. I mean, all of that is a possibility. Now, I'm not one that goes around town wearing a tinfoil hat. I do believe, however, we've got to be mindfully weary of government power. The more powerful we make government, we give the IRS even more power than it has now, so as to tell us where to go to the doctor and how to pay for it, for example, as we're about to experience. We become less free, less secure, and we lose privacy. And the more power we give NSA, for example, to collect data on domestic communications, the greater the chance there is that power might be used for nefarious purposes. And so, again, this, too, is one of the reasons why I wrote why John Roberts was wrong about health care, was to point out that we've just made government a lot more powerful. And we did it in a way that even Congress, when it enacted the law, didn't intend. Why? Because the Supreme Court rewrote the law not just once, but twice in order to save it. And my book explains why that's such a problem.
All right. Well, folks, I urge everyone to check out. And as the senator said, it's not an expensive book, and you could get it at Amazon. Why John Roberts was wrong about health care. Very, very easy and informative read. And, Senator, a pleasure talking to you, sir. Hope you'll come back.
Thank you very much. Good to be with you.
My pleasure. Take care. All right, Senator Mike Lee, Republican, Utah. And in about 40 minutes, if all goes according to schedule, he will be voting along with the rest of the United States Senate, and they will be passing. He won't. I mean, well, they all will. He won't be voting to pass, but the Senate will pass overwhelmingly, apparently, with much more than 60 votes, but probably 68 to 70 or 67 to 70, somewhere in that area. Comprehensive immigration reform, which is chock full of disastrous allowances and laws and provisions, and the Republican Party operating under this fictional notion that if we don't pass this, we'll never win another presidential election. You hear it from Lindsey Graham. You hear it from John McCain. It is bogus. It is foolish. It is misguided. I can't believe that they actually believe that. And it's suicide for the country, and specifically suicidal for the Republican Party if it is passed. Now, Once again, John Boehner has said that the Hastert rule, the Denny Hastert rule, will apply on immigration in the House, and he will bring no bill to the floor that doesn't have the support of the majority of Republicans in the House. That being the case, we could say we're saved, but it's John Boehner, so anything is possible. All right, we're coming back, folks. We're just getting started. The Trayvon Martin trial is incredible, to say the least, and the defense has poked hole after hole after hole in the key witness for the prosecution. I see no way this jury can possibly legitimately convict George Zimmerman. We're coming back. We got that and more on the Steve Malzberg Show.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
Hi, this is Mike Reagan. Folks ask me, what would Ronald Reagan do if he were with us today? I believe the first thing he'd do is stop Obamacare. Already it's in effect with higher taxes, hidden fees, skyrocketing insurance rates, big Medicare cuts, and some insurance plans are hit with a 40% tax. Protect yourself by getting the Obamacare Survival Guide. It's already a #1 New York Times bestseller. Newsmax says it's the best guide to the new law, giving you the strategies, tips, and loopholes you need to know. If you're insured on Medicare, a business owner, a medical professional, just about anyone, you need this book. Get the #1 bestseller, the Obamacare Survival Guide, at bookstores everywhere. Or get our special $4.95 offer and save $15 off the cover price by going now to Obamacare911.com. Obamacare911.com. That's Obamacare911.com.
Hi, I'm Joan London, and if you're worried about your parent or a loved one living alone like I was, and you want reliable senior care information, then call A Place for Mom, the nation's largest senior living referral service. You'll get free information on assisted living, Alzheimer's care, nursing homes, even important financial information.
They had obviously researched every place, not just given me names.
Really? Yeah.
They found me a place for what she could afford, and it was magnificent.
We're now very confident that she's safe, and they just helped every step of the way, and I can't thank them enough.
So if you're struggling to find reliable senior living information, call A Place for Mom. This is a free service, and you can trust them to help you.
If you're struggling to find reliable senior living information for your mom or dad, then call or go online to get the free help you need during this turbulent time. Call now, 800-908-1254, 800-908-1254.
Meet Jim. Like many of us, Jim enjoys a busy life. Between work, family, and friends, his days zip along. And Jim has the energy to tackle almost anything. But lately, Jim's get up and go has literally taken on a new meaning. Jim's always put focus on a full night's sleep, but it seems like these days, he's up and down to go to the bathroom so many times he can barely wake up in the morning. His prostate concerns have him sad, tired, and worried. Activities that were once enjoyable now seem like a chore for Jim. His golf game is at the mercy of his bathroom schedule. Family outings are planned around it too. Jim even has difficulty going to the bathroom. He's tried so many prostate remedies he can't keep them straight, and nothing ever seems to help. Then Jim found out about Prostate Revive, the all-natural dietary supplement specifically formulated for men, targeted towards improving and sustaining normal prostate function. Prostate Revive includes 15 super ingredients never combined before, including saw palmetto extract, beta-cytosterol, pomegranate fruit extract, selenium, and other high-quality nutrients. These targeted and all-natural ingredients promote healthy urinary flow and optimal prostate health. And the best part is, Prostate Revive was developed by a renowned medical doctor. Dr. David Brownstein personally formulated Prostate Revive with one goal in mind: to promote a healthy prostate gland. Thanks to Prostate Revive, Jim's got his life back. He gets a full night's sleep every night, and his friends and his wife can't believe he's the same guy. He has his old energy back, and no one has to wait for him. He doesn't even think about his prostate concerns anymore. Visit MedicSelect.com to take back your nights and improve your quality of life with Prostate Revive.
Where can you find the Steve Malzberg Show? Everywhere. From your smartphone to satellite radio to Newsmax Live TV to Roku, we have you covered. Here is Steve Malzberg.
And here I am. Welcome back. Thursday edition of the Steve Malzberg Show. A couple of things. In the next segment, I'm going to talk a little bit more about Trayvon Martin and the case and what's been going on. But first, the Boston Marathon bombing suspect, Tarznev, the brother who's still alive, obviously. Who knew that only today was he officially indicted for his role in the attacks at the Boston Marathon? Federal grand jury returned a 30-count indictment, including a use of a weapon of mass destruction and bombing of a place of public use. The indictment formally announced just a little while ago in Boston. 17 of the charges against Tarznev, if I'm pronouncing it right, I don't care if I am or not, could come with sentences of life in prison or the death penalty, according to the U.S. Attorney's Office. And then there's this. Polygamists cheered the Supreme Court for their gay marriage rulings yesterday, which they consider one step forward for the legal and social acceptance of multi-person relationships. For those of you listening to me on radio and not watching me at Newsmax.com, my arms are spread as if to say, see? My palms are up, by the way. I told you so. See, if you bring it up, the haters, and they're the haters on the left, the haters will say, oh, you're a homophobe. Oh, there's no yeah, but it's not going to lead to polygamy. But then when Sonia Sotomayor asked the question at the oral arguments and said, where does the state draw the line? Polygamy, incest, then they backed off because you can't call Sonia Sotomayor a bigot or a homophobe, right? So here now you got polygamists, or polyamorous as they're called, are grateful to our LGBT brothers and sisters for blazing the marriage equality trail. This is polygamy spokeswoman Anita Wagner speaking to U.S. News and World Report on the Steve Malzberg Show.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
Hi, this is Mike Reagan. Folks ask me, what would Ronald Reagan do if he were with us today? I believe the first thing he'd do is stop Obamacare. Already it's in effect with higher taxes, hidden fees, skyrocketing insurance rates, big Medicare cuts, and some insurance plans are hit with a 40% tax. Protect yourself by getting the Obamacare Survival Guide. It's already a #1 New York Times bestseller. Newsmax says it's the best guide to the new law, giving you the strategies, tips, and loopholes you need to know. If you're insured on Medicare, a business owner, a medical professional, just about anyone, you need this book. Get the #1 bestseller, The Obamacare Survival Guide, at bookstores everywhere. Or get our special $4.95 offer and save $15 off the cover price by going now to Obamacare911.com. Obamacare911.com. That's Obamacare911.com.
Hi, I'm Joan London, and if you're worried about your parent or a loved one living alone like I was, and you want reliable senior care information, then call A Place for Mom, the nation's largest senior living referral service. You'll get free information on assisted living, Alzheimer's care, nursing homes, even important financial information.
They had obviously researched every place, not just given me names. Really? Yeah. They found me a place for what she could afford, and it was magnificent.
We're now very confident that she's safe, and they just helped every step of the way, and I can't thank them enough.
So if you're struggling to find reliable senior living information, call A Place for Mom. This is a free service, and you can trust them to help you.
If you're struggling to find reliable senior living information for your mom or dad, then call or go online to get the free help you need during this turbulent time. Call now, 800-908-1254, 800-908-1254.
Meet Jim. Like many of us, Jim enjoys a busy life. Between work, family, and friends, his days zip along. And Jim has the energy to tackle almost anything. But lately, Jim's get up and go has literally taken on a new meaning. Jim's always put focus on a full night's sleep, but it seems like these days, he's up and down to go to the bathroom so many times he can barely wake up in the morning. His prostate concerns have him sad, tired, and worried. Activities that were once enjoyable now seem like a chore for Jim. His golf game is at the mercy of his bathroom schedule. Family outings are planned around it too. Jim even has difficulty going to the bathroom. He's tried so many prostate remedies he can't keep them straight, and nothing ever seems to help. Then Jim found out about Prostate Revive, the all-natural dietary supplement specifically formulated for men, targeted towards improving and sustaining normal prostate function. Prostate Revive includes 15 super ingredients never combined before, including saw palmetto extract, beta-cytosterol, pomegranate fruit extract, selenium, and other high-quality nutrients. These targeted and all-natural ingredients promote healthy urinary flow and optimal prostate health. And the best part is, Prostate Revive was developed by a renowned medical doctor. Dr. David Brownstein personally formulated Prostate Revive with one goal in mind: to promote a healthy prostate gland. Thanks to Prostate Revive, Jim's got his life back. He gets a full night's sleep every night, and his friends and his wife can't believe he's the same guy. He has his old energy back, and no one has to wait for him. He doesn't even think about his prostate concerns anymore. Visit MedicSelect.com to take back your nights and improve your quality of life with Prostate Revive.
Where can you find the Steve Malzberg Show? Everywhere. From your smartphone to satellite radio to Newsmax Live TV to Roku, we have you covered. Here is Steve Malzberg.
I asked him how the man looked like. He looked like a creepy ass cracker.
Okay. Let me make sure we got that. Creepy
ass cracker. Yeah.
Okay. Is that what you would call him saying?
Yes.
Okay. And is that to mean you mean like a white individual?
Yes, Caucasian.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, where do I start? Welcome back to the Steve Malzberg Show. That was Rachel Gentile, 19 years old, the star witness for the prosecution. The witness that the prosecution was going to use to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that George Zimmerman hunted down Trayvon Martin and killed him basically for the fun of it. Okay? That woman, that young lady, whatever you want to call her, 19, teenager, young adult, is what's supposedly going to put George Zimmerman away for life. If George Zimmerman is found guilty and her testimony has anything to do with it, my God, God help every single one of us. Because if it could happen to George Zimmerman, it could happen to any one of us. Now, race. The defense fought to keep race and the word race out of this. The defense has maintained all along that race had nothing to do with this. And it didn't, and it doesn't. Not on the part of George Zimmerman. But it may have had something to do with it on the part of the little youngster with Skittles and iced tea, skipping along happily, minding his own business, heading home. You know, the 12-year-old boy who turned out to be a 17-year-old young man who was bigger than George Zimmerman. But shh, let's make believe he's a 12-year-old boy with Skittles and iced tea and skipping home. This witness, in addition to changing her story, admitting that she lied under oath in the past, not being able to read a letter that she allegedly wrote because she now says she can't read cursive writing. I don't even know where to begin. But here's where I want to get back to race. Here's what she said Trayvon Martin told her on the phone. What he called George Zimmerman. What he called George Zimmerman.
Creepy ass cracker.
A creepy ass cracker. Now later, at the end of her testimony today, and this is after she was on for over 2 hours yesterday and well over 3 hours today, she made faces. She was disrespectful. You think the judge would have said to her anytime, hey, you're in a courtroom. Lose the attitude. No, can't do that. She was asked at the end about, again, whether or not cracker, if she considered cracker a racial term. And she said she didn't believe cracker was a racial term, but she said her friends, the culture she's in, she was asked, is it common to refer to white people, your friends, your family, the people you hang with, the people you associate with, to call them white people a cracker? And she said yes. And then when asked, so Trayvon Martin would use that language also commonly? Or something to that effect? She paused, and she paused, and she thought, and she thought, and she paused, and she thought, and she thought, and she paused. And then she said something to the effect of, not necessarily. And if you believe that, there's a bridge 40 blocks from here, I'll sell you. It's called the Brooklyn Bridge. When she already said that Trayvon Martin referred to him as a cracker. As a matter of fact,
Creepy ass cracker.
A creepy ass cracker. That's how little Trayvon Martin, skipping home at 12 years old with Skittles and iced tea, talked about white people. Or at least this person he thought was white, who's not even white, who's Hispanic.
Creepy ass cracker.
Now they're trying to paint George Zimmerman as a racist. George Zimmerman is a watchman. He was not a watchman the night of the shooting. He did not call 911. He did not volunteer the information that Trayvon Martin was black. He was asked, is he black, white, blah, blah, and then he answered the question. He was not told, do not follow him. He was told, we don't need you to do that. And he said, okay, and stopped following him. All this misinformation, all these lies. But they want to portray George Zimmerman as a racist. A racist. Why? Because now they're able to admit 48 calls that George Zimmerman made to 911 or police operators over 8 years. And in every one of the calls that I've heard, he never says, there's this black guy. There's this black guy. They always say to him, can you describe him? Is he black, white? And he always then says, and most of the times it turns out he's black. So even with that, they're saying, oh, look, he's only calling 911 for black kids. What does that mean? How many times did he not call 911 for suspicious white people? Maybe all the suspicious people he sees happen to be black. What does that even mean? We know, or we're going to find out in court in his defense, I'm sure, that he tutored young black children. But that aside, all that aside, Trayvon Martin, none of his past could be admitted. None of the stuff that we have heard about, his Facebook page, his Twitters, his tweets, his love for, apparently for fighting, and this, whatever they call that, you know, bare knuckle fist fighting stuff. The picture of the gun on his cell phone, the curses, the references, the language, all these derogatory things, getting kicked out of school, the robbery, everything. No. All he had was a bag of Skittles and an iced tea. That's all we can know about Trayvon Martin. Well, now, because of the prosecution's own star witness, we now know that Trayvon Martin referred to, if not all white people, if not most white people, at least a man he thought was white, George Zimmerman. He referred to him. Oh, let's see. How do I get this back? How do I get the screen back? I lost the screen as a, well, you got that cut? You want to play it? Okay. Here it is. Again, the short one.
Creepy ass cracker.
Creepy ass cracker. Now, you don't think the jury? I mean, CNN, I'm watching CNN's coverage of this and MSNBC, and, oh, is she believable? She's so real. She didn't have to volunteer that information, so it shows she's not rehearsed. It shows she's real, so she's real. She can't get her story straight? That's how real she is. She admits she lied under oath in the past? That's perjury? That's how real she is. She admits that Trayvon Martin referred to George Zimmerman as a crazy-ass cracker? That's how real she is. Good. Let her be real. Let her be believable. I hope she's believable. Because she couldn't get her story straight. She told some people she heard George Zimmerman say this to Trayvon Martin, and she told other people she heard George Zimmerman say that to Trayvon Martin. And when asked by the defense attorney today, and I'm paraphrasing, you don't know that when you heard the exchange between Trayvon Martin and George Zimmerman and that phone went dead, you don't know if that's because Trayvon Martin didn't take his fist and punch it into the face of George Zimmerman, do you? And she said, no, I don't. Good, be believable, be credible. She knows nothing. What does she know? That Trayvon Martin used a racist term to describe George Zimmerman, who he said was following him? So what? We know he was following him to an extent. She didn't shed any light on who started the fight. She didn't shed any light on what happened. And with all due respect, for a girl her age at 19 who can't read a letter she allegedly wrote, and she can't read cursive writing, yet she is such an expert in sound that she knows that when the phone went dead for the final time, she heard like a thump. She knows that the phone fell into wet grass. She knows that. That she knows. Wet grass. Now, I'm sure all of us could decipher if we hear a phone go that it's falling into dry grass, wet grass, concrete, a dry patch in the grass. But she knows it was wet grass. So, good. I hope she's credible. And I pray, for George Zimmerman's sake, that the jury is paying attention. They're going to say that this man is going to spend his life in prison based on her testimony? A woman who admits to perjury? Oh, God. If that's the case, we are all done. Really. Because if it could happen to him, it could happen to any single one of us. I even saw a segment on CNN. George Zimmerman was 110 pounds lighter when the shooting happened. Now, a year later, he's gained all this weight. Could it have been done on purpose to influence the jury, to be more sympathetic? Are you people crazy? This man hasn't been able to live a life since February of 2012. He can't go out in public. He's depressed. He's probably on medication. He's eating like a pig. Did he do? Yeah, it's a strategy. Yeah, let's beef up 150 pounds. These people are nuts. And they all want him convicted. This Sunny, whoever she is on CNN, they call her an analyst. She's not an analyst. She's like me. She has an opinion. But she's worse. She's an advocate. Sunny, whatever. I don't know her last name. African-American woman. They go to her all the time. She's, I'm watching the jury. And the juror's face, they love this girl. They're at the edge of their seats. She's very credible. And the longer the defense goes on with her, it's not going to be good for the defense because, give me a break. Are you kidding me? And then Jeffrey Toobin last night, Anderson Cooper did a great 1-hour special at 10 p.m. Eastern on the trial. And Sunny again, everything was, and Jeffrey Toobin, near the end of the show said, look, this trial is about the fact that Trayvon Martin had iced tea and Skittles with him. And that's to him what the whole trial's about. Jeffrey Toobin, it's about the fact that he had iced tea and Skittles. The end. Well, why don't you throw in there the crazy white cracker or whatever the heck. All right, we're coming back. We're going to change the subject. Back to Barack Obama and Edward Snowden with Peter Brooks on the Steve Malzberg Show.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
Obama wants your money, and he's determined to get it. He wants your money to buy off unions, his Wall Street cronies, and to expand the Obama welfare nation. Well, Swiss America is determined to stop him from stealing your money. They want to send you an award-winning film, I Want Your Money, on DVD that exposes his plan. It'll help keep the government's hands off your money using gold, silver, and other hard asset strategies to protect your hard-earned money. Call today and request the DVD, I Want Your Money, normally $19.95, yours absolutely free. Let Swiss America show you how to use gold, silver, and other hard assets to protect your hard-earned money. Call now. 800-978-3907. 800-978-3907. Call Swiss America right now. Learn all about investing in gold. 800-978-3907. That's 800-978-3907. Call right now. Health insurance is on everybody's mind right now. You either don't have it or you have it and you think it's too expensive. And you probably feel like you don't have any options. We can help. We are InSphere Insurance Solutions. We offer health insurance plans from major carriers nationwide and likely have a plan that can save you money. Whether you're self-employed, on a COBRA plan that's about to expire, or you simply don't have health insurance where you work and you need it, InSphere Insurance Solutions can help you. Our agents will help you find coverage you can afford. InSphere Insurance Solutions is an authorized agency in all 50 states, including the District of Columbia. Plans may not be available in all states. 800-980-9325. 800-980-9325. 800-980-9325. 800-980-9325.
Newsmax Magazine is proud to present a special tribute to our 40th president, Ronald Reagan. It's a very special documentary and commemorative issue of Newsmax Magazine celebrating the centennial of President Reagan's birth. First, here's a video clip from the award-winning documentary, Rendezvous with Destiny.
We're in the midst of a springtime of hope for America.
You ain't seen nothing yet.
Impulses of an evil empire.
Tear down this wall.
I believe that together we can keep this rendezvous with destiny.
In the next several minutes, you will learn things about President Ronald Reagan that you've never seen, heard, or read before. Welcome to today's special Newsmax event celebrating the life and legacy of President Reagan. During this historic presentation, we will commemorate President Reagan's storied life. We'll revisit his 2 terms in office and recollect his proudest achievements and greatest challenges. Ronald Reagan's life reads like a fairy tale of success stories. He was an accomplished athlete, an honored veteran, a famous actor, the governor of California, and of course, our nation's 40th president.
He called himself a citizen politician and only entered politics when he warned government was gaining too much power. By then he was age 54, with a successful career behind him. Twice elected President of the United States, Ronald Wilson Reagan was a contradiction to some. Once a Democrat, then a Republican. A champion of smaller government whose own government grew. A fiscal conservative who failed to balance the budget. His critics mistook his affability for weakness, but behind the smile and the charm existed an extraordinary leader with unique skills and bold and revolutionary ideas.
We only had time to share just a few of the top defining moments in Ronald Reagan's presidency, but you'll get to see them all in Rendezvous with Destiny. By the way, the president's close relationship with the Pope is especially fascinating. You'll also learn how dealing with an alcoholic father helped shape Reagan's ability to negotiate. And if you ever wondered what the leader of the free world likes to get for the holidays, well, you'll find that out as well. So let's review today in this free offer. We are sending you a copy of Ronald Reagan, Rendezvous with Destiny, and the collector's limited edition of our issue commemorating the 100th anniversary of President Reagan's birth.
Right now, when you subscribe to Newsmax Magazine, you can own both the DVD and receive the special Reagan 100th Birthday Commemorative Edition. That's $25 in bonus gifts when you subscribe. Go to newsmax.com/Reagan13 to subscribe today. Join the millions who read Newsmax Magazine every month.
The Steve Malzberg Show is just a bit different from the other radio shows. We have TV cameras. Watch the show at Newsmax.com or listen on your favorite radio station. Here's Steve Malzberg.
I am interested in making sure that the rules of extradition are obeyed. Now, we don't have an extradition treaty with Russia, which makes it more complicated. You don't have to have an extradition treaty, though, to resolve some of these issues. There have been some useful conversations that have taken place between the United States government and the Russian government. And my continued expectation is that Russia or other countries that have talked about potentially providing Mr. Snowden asylum recognize that they are part of an international community and that they should be abiding by international law. And we'll continue to press them as hard as we can to make sure that they do so.
All right, Barack Obama earlier today in Senegal. Welcome back, Steve Malzberg with you on the Steve Malzberg Show. We're joined now by Peter Brooks, Senior Fellow in National Security Affairs for the Heritage Foundation and former Deputy Assistant Secretary of Defense. Hello, Peter.
Hey.
How are you?
Good.
So I woke up this morning, and maybe I get up a little late. Actually, not to that soundbite, but I want you to hear this. This is a short one. This will be 25, okay. Will. And I couldn't believe what I heard, and I said immediately, I said to Chad, I said, please, let's try to get Peter Brooks, because I can't believe what I'm hearing. Here's cut 25.
No, I'm not going to be scrambling jets to get a 29-year-old hacker.
Now, you know, even if you, first of all, I thought that the United States of America considers him more than a hacker. They've charged him as such. They've requested his extradition. They're trying to get Russia to cooperate without an extradition treaty. They've already warned Ecuador, who's now spit in our face again, saying, you better not give him asylum. And Ecuador basically said, screw you. So he doesn't view him as a 28-year-old hacker. But even if he did, why wouldn't his answer be no comment? Why would he? Why, if he's lying on purpose, would he do that? If he's telling the truth, would he do that? Why would he address that?
It's 3 words. No drama, Obama. Okay? Steve, he doesn't want to make this a big story. And he wants to try to push it off the side. I mean, he's not a 29-year-old hacker. He's a 29-year-old spy, right? The government has charged him with espionage. So, I mean, I think the president is trying to change the story, doesn't want people to get excited about it because he's had his, the United States has had its nose tweaked by both the Chinese and the Russians. So he's just trying to move beyond it. There are people working on this issue, but the more if he draws a line in the sand again, creates a red line or something for the Russians, the more likely he's going to look bad. So I think the exposure of American weakness since this has happened internationally is something the president is just trying to get beyond.
Would it not have behooved him, and would not most presidents or most foreign leaders, anyone in that position, given that question, would they not have said, we're not going to telegraph what we may or may not do, and then say we're going through the legal channels. But to say no, we're not going to do it. So now, in your view, does it preclude him doing it after he said we won't do it? Does he now?
Well, maybe for him it is. It wouldn't be for me. I mean, I think what he's referring to there is there's a sense that if a Russian aircraft, like an Aeroflot, flew through American airspace on its way to Cuba, that the U.S. might intercept it.
Right, which we have a right to do over our own airspace.
Yeah, that you could do that. You could force a plane down. I'm not a lawyer, so.
No, but we had one on. We had one on at the beginning of the week, an international law expert who said that certainly is a legal option.
Yeah, you could force the plane down, and that's probably why he didn't get on the plane in the first place. Is one of his support staff with WikiLeaks or others probably said, "Hey, there's a possibility, considering the flight and the route of the flight, that you could end up in American airspace and they could force you down." So, I mean, he's just trying to downplay this as if nothing bad has happened. But the fact of the matter is that we've had this tremendous exposure of American intelligence capabilities. We don't even know the extent of it at this point, and he doesn't want it to. He's been dissed by Putin and by the Chinese, and he doesn't want to bring it up anymore. This is the last thing he really wants to talk about. He didn't want to defend the program in the first place.
Right.
And then he
No. We lost Peter? No. All right, try to hang up, try to get him right. He probably is still talking as we got him? Oh, we don't. Okay, try to get him back. Try to get back ASAP because we're running out of time. That happens an awful lot. Yeah, and notice, the minute he said NSA, he didn't want to defend the NSA program anyway, and then boom, click, and we're off. I'm not saying anything, you know. Hey, Peter, you're back.
Yeah, I'm back. Where'd you go, Steve?
I think the NSA got us. To be honest with you, the second you said he didn't want to defend the NSA program, it was click, goodbye.
That's right. He didn't want to defend the NSA program, and now he's got to defend it. He's got to do something about this. I mean, it's been, oh my goodness, how many weeks have we had of bad news for the president?
Oh well, we only have a couple of minutes left, Peter. Okay. So let me ask you this: now Ecuador is saying, "Don't threaten us." I mean, we are being. It's not only the intelligence loss and the harm it's doing to our country is immense, I'm sure, but look at a Mickey Mouse country like Ecuador, with all due respect to Ecuadorians, and of course Russia, our friend, who we're going to unilaterally cut nukes for and give missile defense concessions for, and of course China, who we are trading partner, and the great Barack Obama. I thought it was only George Bush who instilled all this ill will.
I mean, it's interesting, isn't it? I mean, he's been mugged by reality of the international community, and these most recent situations, this dissing by the international community is the latest example of the waning of our power and influence in the international community, courtesy of this administration. I mean, you think about it, nobody seems to fear the United States anymore. And this is, I don't know if this is by design or this is just what has happened, but the fact of the matter is that people are not paying attention to our warnings, and it's bad news for us.
It is. All right, Peter, I really thank you for answering my call because I needed a little dose of sanity. I thank you. Always great to talk to you, my friend. Thank you.
All right, thanks for having me.
All right, take care. Peter Brooks, Senior Fellow, National Security Affairs at the Heritage Foundation, former Deputy Assistant Secretary of State. When we come back, Congressman Tim Yuleskamp from Kansas is proposing a constitutional amendment to overturn the Defense of Marriage Act that the Supreme Court did away with yesterday. So we're going to talk to him in an exclusive interview right here on the Steve Malzberg Show. Don't go away. We're coming right back.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
Attention hip implant patients. Are you in constant pain? Have you received a letter from your doctor about your implant? Have you had or need a revision surgery? Do you have high levels of metal, chromium, or cobalt in your blood? Over 90,000 hip implant devices have been recalled due to defects and failures resulting in revision or replacement surgery. If you have a recalled hip implant, you may be entitled to substantial financial compensation. Call 800-460-1530 to see if your implant is affected by the recalls. If you or a loved one has a defective or recalled hip implant, you may be entitled to substantial financial compensation. Call 800-460-1530. That's 800-460-1530. Protect your legal rights today. Call 800-460-1530. This is an advertisement, not valid in all states. Paid non-attorney spokesperson. iLawsuit.com is an advertising group that represents lawyers advertising their services and is a free matching service for consumers. It is not a law firm or lawyer referral service.
Don't complain about your cable bill going up and up and up. Do something about it. Grab a pencil and jot down this special number, 1-855-625-MY-TV. The more cable TV rates go up, the better digital satellite TV looks. So cancel the cable and get more of your favorite channels in 100% digital quality for less money. Call 1-855-625-MY-TV. Right now to sign up for packages starting as low as $19.99, and there's no equipment to buy. You get free HD TV upgrade, a free DVR upgrade, and free professional installation. You control what you watch when you watch it. Record your favorite shows. Pause and rewind live TV. Even skip the commercials. Watch local channels too. At just $19.99, what are you waiting for? Pull out your major credit or debit card. Call 1-855-625-MY-TV. 1-855-625-MY-TV. Cancel the cable. Cut costs and get more. 1-855-625-MY-TV. 1-855-625-MY-TV.
Are you ready? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hello.
Hello and welcome to your Newsmax Now update. I'm John Bachman. Now that the Supreme Court has issued 2 rulings that could settle the debate on marriage equality, lawmakers and government agencies are already making changes. The court declared the Defense of Marriage Act to be unconstitutional. It also deferred a ruling on California's ban on same-sex marriages, which mean the law will be stricken from the books and gay marriages will soon resume in California. Democrats in Congress have already introduced legislation to repeal the rest of DOMA not covered by Wednesday's court ruling, including a section that bars states from recognizing same-sex marriages performed in other states where it is legal. But Republicans say they still plan to fight back.
The state of Kansas will be able to maintain its marriage amendment.
Meanwhile, the Department of Homeland Security will start allowing immigration benefits for gay married couples, meaning U.S. citizens can sponsor foreign spouses for U.S. residency. And the Pentagon says it will begin extending benefits to same-sex couples of military members as soon as possible.
The law of the land has just changed, and we will now, as quickly as possible, assess what that means.
And from Air Force One, President Obama also lauded the rulings while en route to Africa. He and his family have now arrived safely. They left this week for a 7-day trip that will include stops in Tanzania, South Africa, and Senegal, where President Obama spoke today. And as the world starts to contemplate a future without Nelson Mandela, President Obama spoke about the iconic figure who became South Africa's first black president.
He's a personal hero, but I don't think I'm unique in that regard. I think he's a hero for the world. And if and when he passes from this place, one thing I think we'll all know is that his legacy is one that will linger on throughout the ages.
And in Massachusetts, police say text messages and surveillance video link NFL tight end Aaron Hernandez to the murder of a 27-year-old man named Odin Lloyd. Investigators now say Lloyd, who was dating the sister of Hernandez's fiancée, was shot and killed execution style. His body was found in an industrial park about a mile from Hernandez's home. Hernandez was arrested and arraigned Wednesday. He faces 5 other weapons charges in addition to that 1 count of murder. The judge ordered him held without bond, and the New England Patriots have also cut Hernandez just after recently signing him to a $40 million contract. And coming up next on your Newsmax Now update, after a days-long standoff, the boss held hostage by his own workers says they've made a deal. See what he had to give up to get his employees to let him go. And a Newsmax exclusive with Senator Lindsey Graham, what he has to say about NSA leaker Edward Snowden's fugitive status and why it's an embarrassment for the United States, especially for the White House. That's next.
If you are successful at what you do, whether you're a doctor, a lawyer, a business owner, or you have a great career, you understand the concept of protecting yourself. Well, are you protecting yourself, your family, and your assets with quality term life insurance? Consider these possible rates. A man age 45, non-tobacco user could obtain $1 million of coverage for as little as $75 a month. And this rate is fixed for the next 10 years. We specialize in policies of $500,000 and above. A man age 50, non-tobacco user may be able to obtain $500,000 of coverage for as little as $115 a month. And this rate is fixed for the next 20 years. We have great rates for smokers too. Call the Term Lifeline now. 800-430-1309, 800-430-1309, 800-430-1309.
Do you owe the IRS? Do you have unfiled tax returns? Have you received a wage garnishment or bank levy? Maybe a lien has been filed against you. OMG Tax can help you with all your IRS tax problems. Don't wait another second. Take action now. Call my team at OMG Tax. Honest and professional, we don't make false promises. If you owe back taxes, or if the IRS is garnishing your paycheck, you need help now. OMG Tax can help you get your life back to normal. If you're serious about handling your tax matter, call OMG Tax now and get the peace of mind you deserve. Don't let the IRS take your next paycheck. Stop waiting and call our team at OMG Tax. OMG Tax has a straightforward, no-nonsense approach and has helped many Americans resolve their IRS nightmare. Call OMG Tax now.
Call 1-800-255-6485. That's 1-800-255-6485. 800-255-6485.
And welcome back. The American businessman detained by workers at his Beijing factory over a pay dispute is now free. Chip Stearns says they reached a deal overnight, providing dozens of workers severance packages like the ones that he had already given to other laid-off workers. And despite this standoff, Stearns says he might even hire some of those workers back. Meanwhile, NSA leaker and fugitive Edward Snowden is expected to spend yet another day in limbo inside the transit area of a Moscow airport. But what does Russia and China's failure to expedite Snowden say about the influence of President Barack Obama? Here's Senator Lindsey Graham.
Nobody cares abroad what Barack Obama thinks as President of the United States. The influence he has throughout the world is almost non-existent.
And to see more of our exclusive interviews and content, stay with Newsmax.com. This has been your Newsmax Now update for June the 27th. I'm John Bachman. Now here's the Steve Malzberg Show in New York.
Are you ready? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Broadcasting live from the Newsmax studios, this is the Steve Malzberg Show. Be a part of the action by calling 855-777-9660. That's 855-777-9660. Or email Steve at malzbergshow@newsmax.com. Here is Steve Malzberg.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Steve Malzberg Show. Many disappointed with yesterday's Supreme Court ruling when it comes to the Defense of Marriage Act, and also disappointed when it comes to the kicking the can back or punting on Proposition 8 back to the lower court in California. But joining us now is a congressman who plans to do something about the DOMA ruling. And he is Kansas Congressman, Republican, of course, Tim Muleskamp. And Congressman, welcome to the show, sir.
Well, good afternoon. Pleasure to be with you.
Well, it's my pleasure, and I am very intrigued by your plan to introduce a constitutional amendment, an effort to gain a constitutional amendment to overturn the Supreme Court ruling on DOMA. Tell us how it works and when you plan on doing this.
Steve, it is definitely a difficult task to amend the Constitution. Our founders set it out that way, but I am certain our founders never intended for the U.S. Supreme Court to redefine marriage as they have attempted to do. But a warning to those folks, the debate over marriage is just beginning. They've attempted to short-circuit the process of democracy, and so we're going to try to respond and say, hey, we've got 37 states that clearly defined almost enough if we've given the opportunity already. Defined marriage is only between one man and one woman, but we're going to have an uphill battle just to get that through the House and Senate and send that back to the states for approval.
Absolutely, and let me start, if I may, with your own body and your own leadership, John Boehner. There's some speculation that he may be unwilling to cooperate. Yesterday, his statement was, "While I'm obviously disappointed in the ruling, it's always critical that we protect our system of checks and balances." Blah 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 blah. So, have you talked about this with the Speaker? Would you expect the Speaker to be behind your effort in this, or at least bring it to the floor for a vote?
Steve, I have not talked to the Speaker or any others in leadership. This is on very short notice. We didn't start the discussion until we saw the ruling, trying to make preparations. We're hoping for better news out of this court, and obviously disappointed, but I have not visited with leadership. But to let you know, though, last time we had a vote on the federal marriage amendment in the U.S. House. John Boehner voted for it. Eric Cantor voted for it, and the only other leader at that time that was here was Kathy McMorris Rogers voted for it. So 3 of our top 5 were here and voted yes. I would presume they're going to do the same. And John Boehner, actually, he really stepped out. When Eric Holder refused to do his job, and the rest of the Barack Obama administration refused to defend the Defense of Marriage Act, it was John Boehner says, no, the House is going to step up and do the job for Eric Holder.
So you have some reason to be hopeful and that you'll get the cooperation of leadership.
I am hopeful, but it all remains to be seen. But again, it's a difficult task to get 2/3 of the House and certainly 2/3 of the Senate. I authored a Kansas marriage amendment back in 2005 in the state of Kansas, my home state. When I was in the state Senate, it took 2 years to get it done there, and then we had a 70% voter approval. But no, it is a difficult task. Our founders set it out that way. But I think this is the only legislative route ahead when you have the Supreme Court coming in trying to to dictate their personal preferences on marriage and sexuality and impose them on the rest of America.
And explain why you feel that this is so important. That it, granted, there have been other court decisions, I'm sure, that you've disagreed with and felt as strongly about, or possibly not as strongly. But why do you feel so strongly about this issue, and why do you feel that this warrants a constitutional amendment to overturn?
Well, in my opinion, Steve, and literally the opinion of millions, in the case of marriage amendments, 43 million Americans have already pulled the lever and said, we support marriages between only one man and one woman. They strongly feel about that. I do as well. But what has gotten lost is that with this decision, this attempt to radically redefine marriage, and it's not over yet. There are cases coming up that will probably stun us what they're going to argue before these courts. But what has gotten lost is that with this redefinition of marriage, we have allowed the courts and a minority of population to allow the desires of adults to trump the needs of children. I mean, decades of research have shown that, and generations and centuries of human experience have shown the ideal for society is every child deserves a mom and a dad married and in the home. And once you pull marriage out of that deal and continue to redefine it to mean about anything, which actually means nothing by the end of that, the children are the ones who get hurt. They deserve a mom and a dad, and marriage has always been the least restrictive means by which society and government can keep dad in the home and get him engaged. And, mom's always there, almost always there. It's dad that's been the problem throughout history. And so I'm worried about what happens with our children. We have an epidemic of fatherlessness. President Barack Obama and I agree on that. And how do we handle that? We need to be promoting marriage and families, not breaking it down with these type of court decisions.
We're talking to Congressman Tim Muleskamp from Kansas, Republican, here on the Steve Malzberg Show. So what's your timetable? Where do you go from here? How do you proceed with this kind of self-admitted, very tough plan?
Well, we have sent a letter around to our colleagues just a few hours ago asking folks to sign up and sign on board, and we get enough of those that we hope to introduce it by tomorrow. That might have to wait to the following week or two, and it's hard to catch enough folks to sit down and say, hey, it's important enough to amend the Constitution. I think we had close to 2006 had over 230 votes. You need a lot more than that to get it done. So again, it's an uphill battle, and it's not supposed to be easy. But when it comes down to it, I think the children of America and the future of our society is worth a debate and taking up this challenge.
I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you, sir, about the vote that's due to take place any moment in the U.S. Senate on immigration reform. It's basically a fait accompli that bill will pass with well over 60 votes, possibly closer to 70. What do you think the chances for that bill in the Senate and in the House are? And are you encouraged by John Boehner's reiteration of his statement that the Hastert rule will apply here when it comes to immigration in the Senate and in the House?
There are a couple things there. Clearly, that immigration bill is the perfect bill if you want to make absolutely certain nothing would ever pass into law. That is guaranteed to have no passage in the House unless there's some tricky mechanics, and our entire leadership would shoot ourselves and themselves in the foot and do something like that. It's amnesty. There's no question about it. It's going to break the bank. It's going to break Social Security, and it's a mirage when it comes to border security. Nothing. So there's, in my mind, nothing good about it. And but what is the House response is? As you note, Speaker Boehner's reiterated he's going to won't bring a bill to the floor unless it has a majority of support in the Republican conference. But again, it's trust but verify it, and it only takes 17 Republicans to bring down a rule if John Boehner is going to violate the Hastert rule again. And I have voted against rules, and that's prevented some of these things from coming. We have a long ways to go, but everybody in Washington agrees the system's broke. But not everybody agrees the border's secure. This president claims the border's secure already, and the idea you're going to let the administration define a secure border is kind of like letting President Bill Clinton define what sexual relations were. It doesn't make much sense, Steve, and so I look forward for that bill to pass so it can be buried over here in the House and we can get to work on some real border security first and actually having a solution to our immigration system failures.
Congressman, a pleasure to talk to you. I hope you'll come back, sir.
I will be happy to.
Thank you very much, and good luck with the amendment. That's Congressman Tim Muleskamp, Republican from Kansas, who was taking an initiative, and it takes a lot of guts to do that. And, of course, I'm sure the media encouraged, egged on by the Kennedy opinion, which, according to Anthony Scalia, branded anyone who disagrees with the majority opinion in DOMA as an enemy of humanity and must harbor some ill feelings, vicious ill feelings towards gays and homosexuals. I'm sure egged on by that, encouraged by that. Not that they would need the encouragement. The media will lambast Congressman Yule's camp and people who support the constitutional amendment effort. But nonetheless, he will persevere, I am sure. When we come back, we're going to turn our attention, ladies and gentlemen, to a guest at the White House. Oh, yeah, just your average guest at the White House with extremely close terrorist ties. And the White House is not only acknowledging that that person was a guest at the White House, they are defending the fact that that person has been a guest at the White House. And we'll talk to the great Steve Emerson when we come back right here on the Steve Malzberg Show.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
Guys, you've heard about Ageless Male, the natural supplement that helps boost testosterone levels within normal, healthy ranges. But now, the best testosterone product is even better. New and improved Ageless Male can help you feel more like you used to in your active life and in your romantic life. Because our upgraded formula has been clinically shown to increase your drive, desire, and performance. That's right, guys. Ageless Male has been clinically shown to boost performance. Cancel your plans this weekend. You're staying in. If you're ready to recapture the drive from your youth, now is the time to try Ageless Male because it's available risk-free. But you must call now. Just call 1-800-460-9790. Be the guy you used to be. Just call 1-800-460-9790. 1-800-460-9790. 1-800-460-9790.
Hi, this is Dick Morris. Obamacare is taking full effect this year with over 15,000 pages of regulations. You need to know how this law affects you. That's why you should get your copy of Obamacare's Survival Guide. It's easy to read and the best guide to the new law. Even if you're currently insured or a senior on Medicare or a business owner, a medical professional, or really any citizen, you need the Obamacare Survival Guide. In it, you'll find about hidden taxes, fees, and fines, including a 40% tax on some health plans. I warned you about Obamacare. It's rationing, Medicare cuts, and will trigger doctor shortages. Now the Obamacare Survival Guide gives you the simple steps to protect your family. So get the Obamacare Survival Guide at bookstores everywhere. It's already a #1 Amazon bestseller. Or get our special $4.95 offer and save $15 today by going to Obamacare911.com. Obamacare911.com. That's Obamacare911.com.
150 million people suffer from headaches. All you want is for the pounding in your head to stop. Migralex stops the pounding. Migralex was developed by a neurologist and founder of the New York Headache Center.
I'm neurologist Dr. Alex Mauskop. After studying and researching the human brain for 25 years, I've developed Migralex, which eliminates pounding headaches. It works for my patients, and I'm so convinced it will work for you. I don't just guarantee it, I put my name on it.
Dr. Mauskop's Migralex gets rid of headaches fast without harsh caffeine, sodium, or preservatives.
Migralex works unbelievably fast, and it's gentle on my stomach.
Find out how to get your free bottle of Migralex. Call 800-532-2967. Plus, if you're one of the first 100 callers, you'll also receive the Migralex Quick Tips to Headache Relief absolutely free. That's 800-532-2967. Or go to migralexrelief.com. MIGRALEX relief.com. Or call 800-532-2967.
What is Lignet? Lignet is knowledge. Lignet is power. Lignet is global. Top-level officials, U.S. intelligence officers, national security advisors, foreign operatives, all reporting directly to you. What is Lignet? Lignet is confidential. Lignet is sensitive. Lignet is security. What is Lignet? They're the ones taking the world's pulse. If you're not in the know, you're not on Lignet.com. You've been briefed.
Obamacare. More than $1 trillion in new costs. Hidden taxes, fees, big Medicare cuts, doctor shortages. How can we survive?
To know Obamacare is to survive Obamacare. The Obamacare Survival Guide tells you everything you need to know to protect yourself, your family, your business. The Obamacare Survival Guide at bookstores everywhere. Special internet-only offer right now at Obamacare911.com.
Breaking news and breaking hearts. Aww. This is the Steve Malzberg Show.
All right, folks, welcome back to the Steve Malzberg Show. All right, so our friend Stephen Emerson, who we hope to talk to momentarily, executive director of the Investigative Project on Terrorism, uncovered a little note on the website of Sheikh Abdullah bin Bayah. And it seems like the sheikh claimed that he met back on June 13th with Obama administration officials at the White House. So the media, some of them, started asking questions. And lo and behold, I haven't said that in a long time. And lo and behold, it turns out that Sheikh Abdullah bin Bayah met with members of the national security staff at the White House. Now, it begs the question, who is Sheikh Abdullah bin Bayah? Let's ask Steve Emerson. We will, hopefully. But I could tell you a little bit about him. He's the vice president of the International Union of Muslim Scholars. Now, that group was founded by Egyptian cleric Youssef Qaradawi, a Muslim Brotherhood leader who has called for the death of Jews and Americans and himself is banned from visiting the United States of America. And to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I had to throw that in. I hope nobody's offended out there. I threw in the pledge unexpectedly. We were forced to listen to Malzberg say the Pledge of Allegiance. Anyway, so bin Bayah is the president of a group founded by an Egyptian cleric who wants to kill Jews and Americans, and the cleric is not allowed into the U.S. But this guy who's president of the group meets with Obama's national security team? Stop picking on Obama. Get over it. He's the president for the next 3 years. You don't like him. You can't stand a black man in the White House. What's the matter with you? Why do you hate Obama? By the way, the immigration bill passed 68 to 32. 68 to 32. That's the vote on comprehensive immigration reform, so-called. It's going to be a disaster if it ever becomes law. We're going to have 45 million more immigrants in this country in the next 20 years. 99% of them are going to vote Democrat, and there's no jobs for the people who are already here. You know the whole spiel. But that's it. Dead on arrival in the House. Our previous guest said so. We shall see what we shall see. Back to this. Now, bin Bayah, for his part, the man who was at the White House with the National Security Council staff, he's urged the UN to criminalize blasphemy. Okay? His group has spoken out in favor of Hamas in 2009. They issued a fatwa barring, quote, all forms of normalization with Israel. The administration confirmed that bin Bayah met with Senior Director for Development and Democracy Gail Smith and other members of the National Security Council staff. In 2010, bin Bayah publicly rejected a fatwa that had been used for the justification for al-Qaeda terrorism. So because of everything, they're discounting everything else this guy has done because he's sympathetic. He discounted some fatwa. All right, let's go to Steve Emerson right now, our friend and the executive director of the Investigative Project on Terrorism. Hey, Steve, how are you?
Okay, I guess if you deal with terrorism all the time, it's hard to say okay, but last 24 hours has been really shocking to me.
Well, we got about 3 minutes left, so tell the folks, I've given them the background, I've given them the overview. Tell the folks what has shocked you.
the White House secretly invited a top Islamic radical cleric, part of an organization led by the head of the Muslim Brotherhood spiritual guide, Yusuf al-Qaradawi, an organization that has issued fatwas or religious decrees calling for the killing of Americans and Jews, calling for the support of Hamas, secretly invited this cleric to the White House last week, didn't disclose it, denied it when we first approached him, finally admitted it, and the only reason we found out and got pictures was because the Islamic website posted it on their site in the Middle East. This is the equivalent of meeting with Osama bin Laden, Mullah Omar, or the head of Hamas, Ismail al-Mani. It's even worse. These are the people that give the religious rulings to the radical terrorist groups to carry out violence. And I've never seen this in my life. To legitimize these people, this person, is beyond comprehension, and it's going to have fatal consequences.
How so?
It's legitimizing an organization that has at its core a belief that Jews should be killed and that Americans should be killed. We're legitimizing it. And it's going to attract more support in the Islamic community as a result of seeing that the United States has invited, wined, and dined this person, brought him to the White House, and is defending him today by calling him a moderate, even though we have quotes where he calls the Jews people that have to be thrown into the sea and destroyed. And this is, well, who's next? Israel or Hamas? What's the lesson here? What do you think these other groups are thinking? If we just wait out the U.S., cause them enough pain, they'll come running to us.
Well, this president has no fear. I mean, this president has 3.5 years left, and this is I'm certain this is only the beginning.
Well, it started when he first entered office, his April 2009 speech in Cairo. First two rows were Muslim Brotherhood leaders. That was him. He hasn't changed at all in the last 5 years. It's only gotten worse, and he's not accountable to anybody. But he has been whining and dining. He invited 400 members of the Muslim Brotherhood and Hamas to the White House in the last 4 years. He's appointed unindicted co-conspirators to counter-terrorist panels. He's appointed members of Islamic groups that have called for Israel's destruction, supported Hamas, as emissaries for the U.S. government. I mean, you're right. He has no fear. No one opposes him. The Democratic Party is in his pocket, and there are very few Republicans who will take him on.
Steve, we'll chat again, sir. Thank you for uncovering this. Thank you for pursuing this, and thank you for spending some time with us. Stay well, sir.
You're welcome.
All right. Steve Emerson, ladies and gentlemen, Investigative Terrorism Project. When we come back, Spinning the Law with Kendall Coffey, and we're going to spin this George Zimmerman trial upside down and inside out on the Steve Malzberg Show.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
Hi, this is Mike Reagan. Folks ask me, what would Ronald Reagan do if he were with us today? I believe the first thing he'd do is stop Obamacare. Already it's in effect with higher taxes, hidden fees, skyrocketing insurance rates, big Medicare cuts, and some insurance plans are hit with a 40% tax. Protect yourself by getting the Obamacare Survival Guide. It's already a #1 New York Times bestseller. Newsmax says it's the best guide to the new law, giving you the strategies, tips, and loopholes you need to know. If you're insured on Medicare, a business owner, a medical professional, just about anyone, you need this book. Get the #1 bestseller, the Obamacare Survival Guide, at bookstores everywhere. Or get our special $4.95 offer and save $15 off the cover price.
Scroll down now to claim your copy of Obamacare Survival Guide for the special internet offer of only $4.95.
Tired of calls, levies, and liens from the IRS, or hiring others who don't get the job done? Call Wall & Associates and you'll never talk to the IRS again. The IRS has a program to eliminate tax debt, and Wall & Associates professionals are trained to maximize its benefits for you. You always speak with a live person with real support and real knowledge. We've helped thousands of taxpayers like you settle their tax debt with the IRS for a fraction of what they owe. We solve tax problems. Call Wall & Associates now. 800-574-6029. We have the professionals who know how to solve tax problems. If you owe money to the IRS, your tax problems are not going away by themselves, and the passage of time will only make matters worse. Act now, before it's too late. Call Wall & Associates right now to speak to a professional tax relief agent. Call 800-574-6029. That's 800-574-6029. Again, 800-574-6029.
Here's today's silver shortage update from Lear Capital.
Reports keep coming, the shortage is growing. Twice already this year, the U.S. Mint has run out. Last time this happened, the silver price jumped 40%. It's time to take advantage with this special offer from Lear Capital.
For a limited time, buy 20 new silver polar bear coins and get one free. The only 1.5 ounce coin on the market. It's minted with the finest silver, carries a government guarantee, and is eligible for IRAs. The silver polar bear is available exclusively from Lear Capital. But don't wait. Silver supplies are shrinking and availability is not guaranteed. This offer is limited to a minimum purchase of $5,000. Call right now. 800-634-0482. 800-634-0482. Call Lear Capital now. 800-634-0482.
If you need to lose weight and would like to get paid for it, that's right, I said get paid to lose weight. Just listen to the following announcement. The makers of GCE Green Coffee Bean Weight Loss are looking for real testimonials from real people and will pay you per pound to meet or exceed your weight loss goal. Until now, the secrets of green coffee's fat-burning power has been limited, but thanks to Dr. Oz, the secret is out. And now, this authentic green coffee bean fat burner is available in easy-to-take tablets. There are no expensive meals to buy or strenuous workouts. Simply take one tablet before each meal and record your progress. Only the first 200 callers are guaranteed to be accepted into the program. So if you're serious about losing extra weight and want to earn extra cash for fitting into your skinny jeans again, call 800-383-9230 now. Call 800-383-9230. 800-383-9230. Space is limited, so hurry and secure your spot today. 800-383-9230. Some conditions apply. 800-383-9230. 800-383-9230. You have the right to remain silent, but we'd prefer if you didn't.
Spinning the law, spinning the law.
This is Malzberg's
Spinning the Law.
Spinning the Law.
Spinning the law, spinning the law.
With attorney Kendall Coffey.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. Boy, that went psh. I like that, huh? You know, to get the band to stop playing on cue like that, it's like, you know, you see these rock and rollers, the guy with the guitar goes up and then comes down. That's what I do. It's behind the scenes. So if you're watching at Newsmax, you didn't see me do this. And if you're listening on the radio, you don't know what the heck I'm talking about. But you could picture, you know, any band you've ever seen, and the guitarist, lead guitarist, like goes up and then psh, comes down. Anyway, so we're getting a hold of Kendall Coffey to go spinning the law, and we're going to talk at length about the Trayvon Martin case, and certainly DOMA and everything else that took place with the Supreme Court yesterday, the Proposition 8, DOMA, but I want to concentrate on Trayvon Martin. And by the way, Kendall Coffey is also an analyst for NBC, legal analyst, where he's talking about the Trayvon Martin case at length. He just sent me a text with his cell phone number, so he should be there. Okay, cool. All right, good. So as soon as we get him, we will let you know. In the meantime, I'll see you later. No, only kidding. I got to tell you, I can't wait to get his take on the testimony of Trayvon Martin's, and we found out it's not girlfriend, but it's female friend. There was no romance at all between the two, according to 19-year-old Rachel Gentel. So we'll have to, you know, we take that into consideration when we hear from her as well. And this creepy-ass cracker remark, I think, is so huge. I think it's huge. I think it counteracts any accusation of racism on the part of George Zimmerman, where we have none. We have no proof of that. But yet we have this. Well, no, wait a minute. Everything got redone here. Where's the? I can't find the cracker mosquito. Creepy. It's gone. Drum, mosquito, womp, womp, rim. No, it was, but it's gone. Oh, bottom right-hand corner. Yeah, there it is. Okay.
Creepy ass cracker.
Okay. Joining us now is Kendall Coffey, our friend, Spinning the Law. Hello, Kendall.
Hey, how are you?
I am so thankful that you are with us today because I know your schedule is so busy, and I you know, every time you come on, don't think it's ever taken for granted. But today, wow, what a day we have today. So much to talk about. So let's talk about the Zimmerman case first. And I know you've been following it. And this 19-year-old Rachel Gentile. Now, what's your take on her? Because, you know, from the networks, all I get from CNN is, oh, she's believable, she's not believable, she's so much more polite today than yesterday. And they're missing, in my view, all the important stuff because they don't want to go into the important stuff because they're in the tank for the prosecution on these networks. But not you, of course, sir. So go ahead. Tell me what you think.
Well, you know, I'm not in the courtroom. I've been watching live feeds continuously, so I've seen a lot of this witness, and so we don't actually know how the jury's reacting because they're not on camera. They could be rolling their eyes. They could be just looking seriously and poker face. But here's where I think a jury would likely be with her, and it's kind of a mix. I think that the idea that Trayvon Martin was being followed by George Zimmerman is coming across. And by the way, that's consistent with other evidence, including the tone of some of the police statements that have not been brought into evidence yet. But whether or not George Zimmerman was following Trayvon Martin out of, you know, whatever motives, perhaps just being a good citizen and a neighborhood watch guy, that is not the ultimate issue. The ultimate issue, simply stated, is who threw the first punch. Because even if Zimmerman was following Trayvon Martin, misguided or not, that's not a crime. And it doesn't cause you to lose your right to self-defense in Florida or any other state. If Zimmerman was following Trayvon Martin, creepy whatever or not, and they meet face-to-face and they exchange words, that's not a crime so far. But if, in fact, Trayvon Martin throws the first punch, that allows Zimmerman, if a fight ensues and Zimmerman is getting beat up, that can create a right of self-defense. If Zimmerman threw the first punch, then he's committed an unlawful act. He has no right of self-defense. Did this witness clear up who might have thrown the first punch? I don't think so. And in the minds of some people, she's raised some issues as to whether maybe Trayvon Martin had some ideas or views of George Zimmerman. So the key thing is not whether who was following who. It's really who began the violence that led to a tragedy that night.
I couldn't agree with you more. And what I took away from this, and yeah, I'm biased. I think that George Zimmerman, based on the evidence I've seen pre-trial, had a right to defend himself. But what we've seen here is the woman changed her testimony. She told one person one thing and the other person the other thing with regard to what she heard George Zimmerman say to Trayvon. She does say, and I think this helps the defense, that Trayvon said something first, like, why are you following me? But she also said, and this to me is important. Now, maybe you'll disagree with me, but, you know, so much has been said about and implied with profiling. They weren't allowed to say racial profiling, but profiling, and, you know, and every person that he gave a 911 call to was a black suspect. But it was Trayvon Martin who referred to George Zimmerman as a creepy-ass cracker. And at the end, the last few minutes of the questioning that lasted almost 6 hours of this witness, the defense harped on that and said, is that derogatory towards white people? She said no, but she admitted that people she hangs with, people she knows, people she lives with, people she associates with, call white people crackers. And then when asked, so Trayvon Martin does also, and then she paused for, I don't know, 10 seconds, 15 seconds, and said something like, not necessarily. But she already admitted that in a casual context on the phone, he referred to him as a cracker. So I think that is very damaging for Trayvon Martin.
Well, I think it hurts the prosecution because without some explanation, and you remember the prosecutor in his redirect of Rachel Gentile, tried to start to explore cultural differences, and then he quickly realized that this was not the witness that was going to be able to understand and explain cultural differences to the jury. Somehow the prosecution has to do some damage control here because an average person who's not part of the Trayvon Martin's community is going to believe that maybe he had some kind of feelings about people that look like George Zimmerman that could have prompted Trayvon Martin to throw the first punch.
Right.
And the prosecution needs to deal with that. They weren't able to deal with it and redirect. The prosecutor wisely changed the subject because he realized this witness wasn't going to be able to solve his problem. Don't be surprised if some other witnesses that we're going to hear from don't get into a little bit of an attempt to bridge the cultural issue, including perhaps even Trayvon Martin's mother. Not usually the best way to solve a problem for a prosecutor, but they've got to do something to explain those words, because right now the only truly offensive words that we've heard referred to were not comments made by George Zimmerman, were some very uncomfortable words attributed to Trayvon Martin.
Absolutely. I'm so glad you're saying this. We're talking to Kendall Coffey here on the Steve Malzberg Show. And in addition, before we move off of this witness, she admitted she perjured herself in the past. It might have been considered insignificant perjury in the context of everything, but she also admitted when the more importantly, and this is something else that at least CNN, when I say the network, CNN and MSNBC, which is what I'm watching, when the defense attorney asked her, when she heard the phone drop or whatever, and she heard a scuffle, he said, for all you know, Trayvon Martin could have been putting his fist into the face of George Zimmerman at that point and punching him, right? And she basically said, yes, sir. So what did this witness give them?
Well, no, what she gave them was a clear picture that George Zimmerman was pursuing Trayvon Martin and that Trayvon Martin was trying to get away. I think she gave them that.
But she was the star witness. I mean, that's not, like you said, you can't convict on that.
You can't convict him on that. But remember that George Zimmerman, through his statements, insisted something that's very much to the contrary. Zimmerman said, among other things, that he was going back to his car, his truck, and Trayvon Martin jumped out of the bushes and attacked him. One of the realities of self-defense cases that the jury's going to have to sort through is that when people are asserting self-defense, they sometimes can't help adding a few things to their account that maybe aren't true, Steve. And so it is possible that the accounts that George Zimmerman gave to the police have some things that are true and some things that are not true. And how will a jury react to that? Was George Zimmerman getting pretty beat up? I mean, I think almost everyone's going to have to concede that. If he had said simply, yeah, I followed him, I shouldn't have, I thought he was up to no good, we'd had some break-ins, we got into an argument, and then he smashed me in the nose, and before I knew it, I was being beaten within an inch of my life, and I shot him.
Well, did he not say...
If that had been his explanation, it would have been consistent with the known evidence, and it would have been a valid self-defense.
Well, he admitted
some additional facts that he added that may or may not be consistent with other testimony.
But Kendall, he did admit, and even to the non-911 operator, he did admit that he was following him to a certain extent, and then I guess maybe he eventually said that he stopped following and then was broadsided by Trayvon or whatever. But this girl indicates a conversation. But is not the follow? Did he not admit that he was following him for location purposes for the sake of the police?
Yeah, yes and no. But if the prosecution brings out, which well they might, the details of George Zimmerman's statements to the police. Zimmerman voluntarily talked to the police without a lawyer.
Right.
Bottom line, that's a mistake.
Right.
Because Zimmerman's got some details in there that are just not consistent. Is it enough to get him convicted? Well, the prosecution hopes so, because what they got today from Rachel Gentile has some major gaps in it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. All right, let's move not on, but backwards to yesterday's rulings from the Supreme Court, and let's start with DOMA. Your take on that?
Widely, if not universally, expected. The original signer of the legislation, namely then President Bill Clinton, even some of the Republicans joining it, Ted Olson, David Boies, the two major adversaries from recount, all supported the invalidating DOMA. That was not at all surprising, and in fact, there was a feeling that it could have even been more than 5 votes, because DOMA is a federal law that many see as sort of being inappropriately intrusive upon the state prerogative to define what is and what is not marriage. So that part was widely expected.
All right, well, let me ask you about the tone. Many, including Justice Scalia in his dissent, took exception to the tone in the majority opinion written by Justice Kennedy. And I ask you this because you've read many more opinions than I have. And basically, Scalia accused Kennedy of saying that anyone who did not vote with the majority on the court was an enemy of humanity, and that they, and implied or said outright that they basically have to have something against gay people, because there's no other possible reason to not vote to dismantle DOMA. So do you agree that the tone in the majority opinion was over the top, and that it was the kind of the public debate and the political debate has entered into the court now?
Well, I think that the tone was certainly very strong. I don't know that. I mean, Scalia was obviously very sensitive to it because he's not personally anti-gay. And he doesn't like the idea that because he votes in accordance with a certain philosophical view of the United States Constitution, we all know that Scalia believes that the Constitution basically should be interpreted as it was originally written. It has nothing to do with his attitude toward minorities. That being said, I think Scalia was somewhat offended. The tone that was written was strong, but I think in some sense the Justice Kennedy, who has been involved in decisions before, that, for example, the Texas sodomy case, which we remember very well, was authored by Justice Kennedy. I think he's viewing this as a question where he wanted to make a relatively strong statement, get the Supreme Court out of this issue for the foreseeable future, and let the states deal with it. And I think in Kennedy's mind, he's hopeful that this issue will cease to be a major controversy and will cease to be a source of division, and that the states will one by one eliminate barriers to same-sex marriage. But that part of it surprised me. On the other hand, everything about this issue is emotional, and it's something that even people in the court who obviously respect each other have strong disagreements about.
All right, we're talking to Kendall Coffey. Let's move finally to Prop 8, and the court sent it back. And what I was told by a lawyer for the group that was in court defending Prop 8 was that, hold on, Governor of California, not so fast, slow down the boat, don't issue the marriage certificates, because according to the California Constitution, he claims, and I have no reason to doubt him, that only an appellate court can overturn Prop 8. And since the appellate court approval of the lower court decision was vacated by the Supreme Court yesterday, which said they should not have heard it because there was no standing there either, that it's just a single judge's ruling that stands now, so that should not change anything. So your take on all of it?
Well, literally, that's true. You have a single district judge's decision. The Supreme Court took what some would say was not the most ambitious or audacious or boldest path by ruling on standing. I think your listeners know what standing it means. It means that the person who has the right to bring the case is not the one who brought the case, and that therefore the Supreme Court's going to decide that they don't have jurisdiction, and that was applied to the Middle District Court. So I think the person you spoke to has an intriguing point. But what the practical impact is going to be is that, given the weight of events, the pages of history seem to all be turning in one direction. My sense is that while the point you heard is technically a correct one, I think that most public officials in California are going to treat Proposition 8 as having effectively been invalidated, even if only by a single federal district judge.
Gotcha. Kendall, really appreciate your time, sir. We'll watch for you on NBC with your legal analysis of the Zimmerman trial, and if everything works out well, no, next Thursday is the 4th of July, so hopefully we'll speak to you in a couple of weeks. Have a great holiday, sir.
Okay, Steve. Thanks for having me on.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you. Kendall Coffey, ladies and gentlemen, author, of course, of Spinning the Law, and so we stole the name, and we made it the name of our segment. And here comes Chad with a emergency update. Now, yes, I had that news about half hour ago. But he's telling me, he's giving me the note that the Senate passed the immigration reform bill 68 to 32. All right, we're coming back. Big hour. Next hour, we'll talk to Susan Ferricchio, chief congressional correspondent of the Washington Examiner, about the vote, about the president, about everything going on in the Congress. When we come back, a couple of sound bites you may want to hear right here. That's HEAR, right? HERE. And by the way, it's RIGHT, not WRIT. Get it? On the Steve Malzberg Show.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
Are payday loans ruining your life? If you have 2 or more payday loan cash advances, listen closely. You may be eligible for a program that payday loan companies don't want you to know about.
This program will get payday loan companies out of your bank account and put an end to the payday loan nightmare. Call for free information and find out if Payday Loan Support Center is right for you. Payday loan companies usually trap you into paying rates as high as 700%. We understand payday lenders' tactics. Don't let them take advantage of you anymore. All you need is 2 or more payday loans to qualify. We can help even if you're behind in collections or have bad credit.
Internet payday loans qualify for this program as well. So call 800-250-5084. That's 800-250-5084. The call is free and the consultation is free. Don't miss out. Call for your free information on payday loan relief. 800-250-5084. That's 800-250-5084. Again, 800-250-5084.
If you or someone you love is struggling with addiction to alcohol or drugs, then you must listen to this message, because there is hope. No matter what addiction you or your loved one is coping with, you are just one phone call away from real help. Recovery Hotline makes the healing process simple and affordable by matching people to fully certified and experienced inpatient facilities that are right for their personal situations. Call 800-668-1286 now. Don't wait another day. Money does not have to be an issue. Most insurance is accepted. Just call 800-668-1286 today. Recovery Hotline's mission is to help you or someone you love begin the healing process and get back a healthy and sober life. And we can even help with family interventions and travel arrangements. One phone call is all it takes to get back the life you or your loved one deserves. The call is free. The help is real. Call 800-668-1286. That's 800-668-1286. 800-668-1286. Again, 800-668-1286.
Hey guys, do you know your testosterone level? You should. Each year, declining testosterone robs more of your energy, drive, motivation, and even your ability to perform in bed. Take control of your testosterone today. Write this number down, because Progene, the leader in dual-action testosterone supplements, is now giving you a free supply if you call today at 800-592-4834. If you'd like to feel closer to 20 than 40 and get back that energy, drive, and confidence, call now to try Progene risk-free. Don't believe us? We'll even prove it works. Ask about our at-home testosterone test kits and see for yourself what Progene can do for you. Be one of the next 100 callers. We'll triple your order and send you a full 1-month supply of Progene for free. A $70 value for only the cost of shipping and handling. Call 800-592-4834 for details. Know your level and kick your drive back into gear with Progene. Call 800-592-4834. That's 800-592-4834. Again, 800-592-4834.
In 2013, half of your friends, family, and neighbors may lose their jobs, and you may be forced to watch helplessly as you are robbed of 90% of your life savings, all while your home's value is eradicated. Controversial economist Robert Wiedemer believes we will soon stare down a secret crisis that will rival the Great Depression. It was Wiedemer's 2005 book, America's Bubble Economy, that warned of coming meltdowns in our housing and stock markets. Washington did not heed his call, and folks on Main Street lost $50 trillion from the recession. His New York Times best-selling book, Aftershock, predicted our federal debt and dollar would be the next bubbles to burst. And now Robert Wiedemer has released a startling video with shocking evidence the powers that be have tried to ban. But that hasn't stopped 50 million people from getting the truth. Join us at Aftershock2013.com. Aftershock2013.com.
Hi, this is Mike Reagan. Folks ask me, what would Ronald Reagan do if he were with us today? I believe the first thing he'd do is stop Obamacare. Already it's in effect with higher taxes, hidden fees, skyrocketing insurance rates, big Medicare cuts, and some insurance plans are hit with a 40% tax. Protect yourself by getting the Obamacare Survival Guide. It's already a #1 New York Times bestseller. Newsmax says it's the best guide to the new law, giving you the strategies, tips, and loopholes you need to know. If you're insured on Medicare, a business owner, a medical professional, just about anyone, you need this book. Get the #1 bestseller, The Obamacare Survival Guide, at bookstores everywhere. Or get our special $4.95 offer and save $15 off the cover price.
Scroll down now to claim your copy of Obamacare Survival Guide for the special internet offer of only $4.95.
Microphones hot. Satellite link established. Studio lights illuminated. Cameras rolling. Audio and video encoders firing ones and zeros. Internet stream is streaming. The most technology advanced radio show is on the air. Here's the captain of this enterprise, Steve Malzberg.
Sworn in. Ladies and gentlemen, the president and I weren't back there blaming John Corzine then. You know what we were doing? We were on the phone calling John Corzine. Literally. I literally picked up the phone and called John Corzine and said, John, what do you think we should do?
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. That was Joe Biden at a Corzine for Governor re-election campaign rally 4 years ago, and touting how the administration, the first thing they did to straighten out the economy was they called John Corzine. They called John Corzine to find out what they should do, financially speaking. Well, today the U.S. government is suing former MF Global CEO John Corzine, along with the firm's senior former assistant treasurer. You might recall that the collapse of MF Global cost investors $1.2 billion. And Chad, they've never found the money. John Corzine just lost $1.2 billion. Hey, he doesn't know where the money is. Nobody knows where the money is. So I thought all along the Justice Department should have, gone after John Corzine. They never did. Now they're suing him. It's the CFTC that's suing him. It's the Commodity Futures Trading Commission. It's not the same, but I hope he does jail time on the Steve Malzberg Show.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
My patients still don't know what Obamacare means for them. And how could they? There are already 13,000 pages of regulations, and the bureaucrats are just getting started. Obamacare will change your health care, and you need to understand how. There are hidden taxes and fines, big cuts in Medicare, even new regulations on what services doctors can offer you. Some businesses could get hit with a 40% additional tax on your health care plan. Please, get the Obamacare Survival Guide today. It's the best book explaining the new law. It's easy to read. Everything you need to know to protect yourself, your family, your business. The Obamacare Survival Guide at bookstores everywhere.
Special internet-only offer right now at Obamacare911.com.
If your prostate is giving you problems and your doc says it's just part of getting older, be wary. Renowned physician and author Dr. David Brownstein thinks this is baloney. He's discovered a link between aging and prostate health and believes prostate concerns do not have to be an inevitable part of aging. That's why he created Prostate Revive.
Hi, I'm Dr. David Brownstein. I personally formulated Prostate Revive to include the most essential natural ingredients available to help promote a healthy prostate gland and optimal urinary function.
The producers of Dr. Brownstein's Prostate Revive are so thrilled with the positive feedback from satisfied customers that for a limited time, they are willing to send you your first month's supply free. Plus, call now and you'll also receive Dr. Brownstein's special report, A Doctor's Guide to a Healthy Prostate. For details on getting your free bottle, call 1-800-596-REVIVE. That's 1-800-596-REVIVE. Take control with Prostate Revive. Call now while supplies last to claim your risk-free bottle at 1-800-596-REVIVE.
Hello and welcome to your Newsmax Now update. I'm John Bachman. Now that the Supreme Court has issued 2 rulings that could settle the debate on marriage equality, lawmakers and government agencies are already making changes. The court declared the Defense of Marriage Act to be unconstitutional. It also deferred a ruling on California's ban on same-sex marriages, which mean the law will be stricken from the books and gay marriages will soon resume in California. Democrats in Congress have already introduced legislation to repeal the rest of DOMA not covered by Wednesday's court ruling, including a section that bars states from recognizing same-sex marriages performed in other states where it is legal. But Republicans say they still plan to fight back.
The state of Kansas will be able to maintain its marriage amendment.
Meanwhile, the Department of Homeland Security will start allowing immigration benefits for gay married couples, meaning U.S. citizens can sponsor foreign spouses for U.S. residency. And the Pentagon says it will begin extending benefits to same-sex couples of military members as soon as possible.
The law of the land has just changed, and we will now, as quickly as possible, assess what that means.
And from Air Force One, President Obama also lauded the rulings while en route to Africa. He and his family have now arrived safely. They left this week for a 7-day trip that will include stops in Tanzania, South Africa, and Senegal, where President Obama spoke today. And as the world starts to contemplate a future without Nelson Mandela, President Obama spoke about the iconic figure who became South Africa's first black president.
He's a personal hero, but I don't think I'm unique in that regard. I think he's a hero for the world. And if and when he passes from this place, one thing I think we'll all know is that his legacy is one that will linger on throughout the ages.
And in Massachusetts, police say text messages and surveillance video link NFL tight end Aaron Hernandez to the murder of a 27-year-old man named Odin Lloyd. Investigators now say Lloyd, who was dating the sister of Hernandez's fiancée, was shot and killed execution style. His body was found in an industrial park about a mile from Hernandez's home. Hernandez was arrested and arraigned Wednesday. He faces 5 other weapons charges in addition to that 1 count of murder. The judge ordered him held without bond, and the New England Patriots have also cut Hernandez just after recently signing him to a $40 million contract. And coming up next on your Newsmax Now update, after a days-long standoff, the boss held hostage by his own workers says they've made a deal. See what he had to give up to get his employees to let him go. And a Newsmax exclusive with Senator Lindsey Graham, what he has to say about NSA leaker Edward Snowden's fugitive status and why it's an embarrassment for the United States, especially for the White House. That's next.
In 2013, half of your friends, family, and neighbors may lose their jobs, all while you are robbed of 90% of your life savings, investments, and home's value. Controversial economist Robert Wiedemer, who was the only expert to predict the recession, has released a startling video with shocking evidence that the powers that be have tried to ban. But that hasn't stopped 50 million people from getting the truth. Watch it at AftershockVideo.com. AftershockVideo.com.
Have you ever wondered how you could make a difference in someone's life? What if you could help hundreds or even thousands of children? Students in the U.S. rank 32nd in world math skills. It's time for our children to catch up. Become an owner of one of the world's fastest growing franchises, Mathnasium. Mathnasium is the leading math-only learning center in the U.S. Imagine helping hundreds, even thousands of students in your community improve in school and raise their self-esteem. Call us at 800-676-5216. 800-676-5216. 816.
Hi, this is Mike Reagan. Folks ask me, what would Ronald Reagan do if he were with us today? I believe the first thing he'd do is stop Obamacare. Already it's in effect with higher taxes, hidden fees, skyrocketing insurance rates, big Medicare cuts, and some insurance plans are hit with a 40% tax. Protect yourself by getting the Obamacare Survival Guide. It's already a #1 New York Times bestseller. Newsmax says it's the best guide to the new law, giving you the strategies, tips, and loopholes you need to know. If you're insured on Medicare, a business owner, a medical professional, just about anyone, you need this book. Get the #1 bestseller, The Obamacare Survival Guide, at bookstores everywhere. Or get our special $4.95 offer and save $15 off the cover price by going now to Obamacare911.com. Obamacare911.com. That's Obamacare911.com.
And welcome back. The American businessman detained by workers at his Beijing factory over a pay dispute is now free. Chip Stearns says they reached a deal overnight, providing dozens of workers severance packages like the ones that he had already given to other laid-off workers. And despite this standoff, Stearns says he might even hire some of those workers back. Meanwhile, NSA leaker and fugitive Edward Snowden is expected to spend yet another day in limbo inside the transit area of a Moscow airport. But what does Russia and China's failure to expedite Snowden say about the influence of President Barack Obama? Here's Senator Lindsey Graham.
Nobody cares abroad what Barack Obama thinks as President of the United States. The influence he has throughout the world is almost non-existent.
And to see more of our exclusive interviews and content, stay with Newsmax.com. This has been your Newsmax Now update for June the 27th. I'm John Bachman. Now here's the Steve Malzberg Show in New York.
Are you ready? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Broadcasting live from the Newsmax studios, this is the Steve Malzberg Show. Be a part of the action by calling 855-777-9660. That's 855-777-9660. Or email Steve at malzbergshow@newsmax.com. Here is Steve Malzberg.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. As we mentioned, as it happened, the United States Senate passing the immigration reform bill 68-32, and that happens to total 100. Yes, indeed. And joining us now to talk about that and some other goings-on in Washington and dealing with Congress, where she is chief congressional correspondent at the Washington Examiner, Susan Ferricchio. Hey, Susan.
Hey, Steve. Thanks for having me.
No, thank you for coming on. Never a dull moment, huh?
No, lots going on up here today. They just voted to pass this bill in the Senate. They didn't get their 70 votes. They got 68.
That's what I was going to ask you about. Yeah, because Schumer and the Democrats who were on the Gang of Eight were really hoping for 70 to send some kind of message.
Right. And they got 68. So it was I think there was a bit of a letdown. They're not really acknowledging it that way, but after saying 70, 70, 70 for all these weeks, and then they get 68. And combined with that, you're hearing repeatedly from House leaders, this has been something they've talked about here and there over the past few weeks, saying that they're not going to take the Senate bill up in its current form. I don't think the Senate really expects that. I think, though, they feel like by sending a bill over with 68 votes, it will pressure the House to put something together that's similar. And now that's the big question mark. What will the House put together? Will it have a pathway to citizenship? I think the real question here is, what's the trigger going to be? I do believe if there's anything that's going to move out of the House that is even something the Senate would consider, because Senate is run by Democrats and House is run by Republicans, I think the House bill is going to boil down to what the trigger is. And by trigger, I mean, what's the requirement for legalization? The Democrats really resist the idea of any kind of legislation where you would have to have a level of border security before legalization can happen. What they want is legalization and a pathway to citizenship or a green card while, we'll say we're going to do these things, and then these things can happen at their own pace. I think what Republicans want is no legalization at all until we have a certain level of border security affirmed. In other words, let's stop 1986 from happening all over again, where you allowed lots of citizenship to happen, and then the borders remained open, and then we developed the problem we have now. That's what's going to happen in the House. The question is, will Democrats agree to it in exchange for, again, at the very least, legalization? A lot of Republicans are saying, what's interesting to me is they're saying no path to citizenship. I think they're saying we'll do guest worker, we'll expand that. So I think at best, you're going to get a House bill with a really stringent trigger that Democrats are going to hate. I don't think you can get anything more than that. That's at the most. And at the very least, you're going to get something that doesn't even have legalization or pathway to citizenship. You're going to get something that has people coming over, they'll allow the guest worker program to be created, visas, H-1B visas, and low-skilled, high-skilled visas.
Well,
That's happening in the House.
No, I agree. I mean, I've talked to several House members over the past few days and past few weeks, and a couple today, and they all say DOA for the Senate bill. It's not going to even be taken up. And they all talk about, securing our border, and they all talk about how they believe John Boehner will stick to the Hastert rule that he says he will stick to. I think he reiterated that. Do you see any indication that that Hastert will bend on that? And for those who don't know, that means that a majority of the Republican caucus in the House would have to support a bill before it's brought to the floor. Do you see him going the other way on that?
Yeah, in other words, will he bring a bill to the floor and let 20 Republicans vote for it and let Democrats pass it?
Right.
I don't think so. He said it a bunch of times now. Sometimes you got to kind of read between the lines what the leadership says over in the House or in the Senate for that matter. And I'm getting the sense that that is actually something they're going to stick to. There's been various threats. I know some of the conservatives yesterday were saying if he does this, if he moves the pathway to citizenship to the floor, if he moves something like the Senate bill to the floor that's not going to pass with a majority, as you say, that they're going to try to remove him as Speaker. He's also getting a lot of pressure, though. I mean, speakers, there's a lot of Republicans, a lot of people in the conservative world who are behind, as you know, the pathway to citizenship and legalization for reasons that have to do with, the business world wants cheaper labor. They put a lot of money into trying to get this thing passed. So people are being pressured big time, and at the Republican leadership level in the House. That's why this thing is a little bit unpredictable at this point. Okay, so what could end up happening is they end up passing these smaller bills that he does not put the House Gang of Seven bill on the floor, which is going to look a lot more like the Senate bill.
Right.
And he's not going to put that down. He's going to put these smaller bills, and by the smaller bills, I mean E-Verify, border security, exit entry stuff that secures when people come and go and who's overstaying their visas. Maybe guest worker, maybe high-skilled visa.
But whatever he does, Susan, and whatever the House might pass, I mean, do you see Harry Reid then taking the, basically this issue piecemeal and bringing bill by bill before the Senate to pass it and basically coalescing to, to the House way, or just saying, forget it, they're not doing it, and we're ignoring these bills, and they didn't want to do it, and put the blame on them?
Oh, he'll ignore those bills, but the question is whether they can bundle those bills together and bring them separately to conference. Now, big question that everybody's asking. A lot of people who oppose this bill don't want the Speaker to go to conference because they think if he agrees to go to conference, because that's a whole other step here, then that's when you could be adding in the pathway to citizenship and the legalization and the weak border security. The border security that they believe is not strong enough. Some people think it is very strong. So a lot of people who are opposed to the bill don't want conference to even happen. That's a big question mark in my head whether that will happen, because if he does go to conference and they if that means Republicans have to agree to something, and if they do agree to anything, you can almost bet it'll have the pathway to citizenship in there. And then what happens? Does the Speaker bring that to the floor? This thing could stall pre-conference. Thinking at this point, just because you don't get any sense in the House that they can move it. I mean, I think what the Speaker said today was really interesting. He talked about today and yesterday. He was saying actually doesn't see any way to move the bill, and I think he's a practical speaker. You know, he sits there and he just looks at the facts. And if he's always been somebody who's saying, let his conference work its will, and if he feels like they don't want this bill, and there's enough of a feeling against it, I would find it really tough to envision him moving something that a majority in his conference opposed at this point on such a big deal. It would be a monumental move against his conference. So things look dim in my view because of the big canyon size difference between what the House is thinking of doing, run by Republicans, and what the Democrats in the Senate want. And when you have a gap that wide, it's tough to see how we get unity to get a bill out of Congress.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. We're talking to Susan Ferricchio, Chief Congressional Correspondent, Washington Examiner, here on the Steve Malzberg Show. Let's talk about the IRS. The left has basically, certainly the media on the left has said that the scandal, the quote-unquote scandal, as Chuck Todd is now referring to it as, and Rachel Maddow said, is this not over? It's over. It's over. So it's over because allegedly, the IRS also targeted groups with progressive in the name, and so it was an equal opportunity abuse of power, and everybody was treated the same, and end of story. But of course, the Inspector General is saying now today that no, that was not the case. That about 30% of the people, the groups may have had progressive in their name, but they weren't given the same scrutiny. They might have been red flagged and searched for, but they were not asked the intrusive questions. They were not given the same hassles, which is why we haven't had really any progressive groups come up and say, hey, they did it to me too. They did it to me too. It's been all groups on the right. So where do we stand with this, as far as you know?
Well, that's exactly right, what you were saying. And I've been hearing this all along. That's why I was surprised to see this sudden shift in Democrats all of a sudden saying, look, there's new evidence here. The Inspector General always said that while some of the progressive groups may have been pulled aside, or at least people on the Oversight Committee staff were saying, well, they have been pulled aside. They were, according to testimony provided privately between congressional investigators and some of the staff at the IRS, they said, well, we did flag progressive groups. We did. They admitted it. And then the investigator said, well, what did you do with them? They said, we just put them back into the general pile. So they didn't go in the pile where the Bolo Tea Party people went. Those guys went in through the ringer there, but the progressive groups were kind of put back in. So there was evidence all along that they may have pulled these guys out, but the fact is who got their tax-exempt status and who didn't. 100% of the Tea Party groups pulled out, got the big scrutiny, whereas 30% of the Tea Party groups did. So
you mean 30% of the progressive groups, yeah.
Excuse me, yeah, I'd say. So that's a pretty big difference. I know just from talking to IRS, former top IRS people, I said they always made a point when they do that kind of scrutiny on any group for any reason, that they make sure it's even, because they don't want it to look political, because that would reflect poorly on the president, the point of them. So there's always they're supposed to be really careful to make sure that you're not doing this anything other than 50-50. You want to make it look anyway. So it's very clear here that the Tea Party was getting the additional scrutiny. Nonetheless, Democrats today requested that. They want the Inspector General, George, to come back and talk to them about this because they feel like he wasn't being truthful despite the letter he has sent. I'm not sure if that's going to happen because they don't run the committees. They don't, they can have their own committee.
And why would the Inspector General lie?
Well, there was a question about whether that Chairman Issa, the House Oversight, asked him to narrow his report to groups about the Tea Party. But that can be interpreted a number of ways. Is that just because the Tea Party groups were the only ones given the additional scrutiny?
Right.
Yeah, so that's pretty interesting, I think. And it's not clear right now. I think it's confusing to the public, I'm sure. It was today, too, because I'm reading this letter, watching this hearing, I'm like, wait a minute.
I know.
They're all out of sorts on it. It's confusing to the public, and you hear people, like Rachel Maddow or whoever saying, is this thing, Elijah Cummings on House Oversight saying this thing is a wrap. You know why?
Yeah, he said it was over 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know where all these hearings are going to lead or if they're going to continue. I hope they do. Now we got Benghazi. Of course, I know that Darrell Issa is not giving up on that, and the others aren't giving up on it. We have a diary entry today revealed by the website SoftRep.com, which is run by a group of former U.S. Special Ops personnel, that says Ambassador Stevens, in his final entry, warned of security threats. So this, this looks just worse and worse and worse all the time.
I know. I don't think they're going to drop Benghazi. I don't see any sign of that. And I think that they're, they've got requests in to get information that they haven't gotten yet. So I think that there was just a subpoena sent out this week having to do with trying to get information from the State Department folks who were behind the early communications following Benghazi, just to find out why what they were communicating in emails was so much different to what UN Ambassador Susan Rice said on the Sunday talk show. They're still trying to get to the bottom of it here. I don't think you'll see the end of that. Now, keep your eye out tomorrow. There'll be, I believe, a committee hearing where the topic will be the IRS former head of the tax-exempt groups. They'll be talking about her use of the Fifth Amendment to refuse to testify last month. I think the discussion is going to be whether or not that was legal, given the fact that she read an opening statement.
Oh, okay. Now, what kind of hearing is this going to be, did you say?
They're going to be discussing whether or not
her taking the Fifth, actually, if she blew it because she had made an opening statement. All right, great. We'll watch for that tomorrow. Susan, as always, great talking to you. And if we don't hit you next week, which I think we will, or by Wednesday, then have a great 4th of July.
Well, thank you.
All right. Take care. Susan Ferrecchio, ladies and gentlemen, Chief Congressional Correspondent for the Washington Examiner. We're going to talk about Anthony Weiner coming up. And, of course, Anthony Weiner now right up there among the many Democrats running for the Democratic nomination for mayor in New York City. He had the lead. Now he's tied. Then he's down a point. But he's up there. No pun intended. On the Steve Malzberg Show.
The Steve Malzberg Show. You've heard the allegations on the news, and during the big game, pro football players have been using deer antler velvet to get a competitive edge. Banned at the London Games for its performance-enhancing qualities. Forbidden in major sports leagues for being an unfair advantage to athletes. Deer antler velvet is now in stock and available to try for free for a limited time only. Athletes have been using it for years for increased strength, increased endurance, muscle mass stress reduction, and yes, greatly enhanced libido. Everyone's talking about this miracle substance so powerful it's being banned by professional sports organizations, but for a limited time, it's being made available to the general public. Best of all, you can try it for free by calling 800-678-5153. That's right, get Superior Velvet for free. If you're looking to boost your performance on the field and between the sheets, get the most powerful, proven product used by athletes for years now for free. Claim your free bottle today by calling 800-678-5153. That's 800-678-5153. Again, 800-678-5153.
Hello, my name is Fred Fleitz, and I'm the managing editor of Lignet. You've probably seen our name preceding some of the stories you read on Newsmax or heard Lignet referenced on Fox News, C-SPAN, or CNN. Perhaps you've asked yourself, what is Lignet? Lignet is an acronym for the Langley Intelligence Group Network, a private Washington, D.C. based service that provides global intelligence, in-depth analysis, and detailed forecasting. Lignet's staff and advisors include former CIA officers, national security experts, presidential advisors, and top-level government officials from around the world. I myself held several national security posts for the U.S. government during my 25-year career with the Central Intelligence Agency, the Defense Intelligence Agency, the U.S. Department of State, and the House Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence. Our lead advisor is General Michael Hayden, the former director of the CIA. He is joined by former U.S. Ambassador to the United Nations John Bolton and former chairman of the National Intelligence Council and Special Assistant to President Ronald Reagan Fritz Ehrmann, former U.S. Ambassador to Venezuela Otto Reich, and former clandestine service officer Frederick Russman, former chairman of the House Intelligence Committee Peter Hoekstra also join our advisory board staff. Every day, our goal is to use our expertise, our resources, and our worldwide staff to take the pulse of the ever-changing political and economic landscape and the threats we face on a daily basis. Whether you are following global events for your portfolio or business, or just interested in the world around you, LigNet provides what you need to know to keep up with global events. There are many. Every day, LigNet members receive the Morning Brief, a daily email that provides summaries and links to our daily analysis to keep you up to date on LigNet's assessments. LigNet members receive unrestricted access to LigNet's secure database of global analysis. All of our special reports, previous analyses, and exclusive video interviews with intelligence insiders are available to members 24 hours a day. But you also get top-notch analysis that resembles the President's Daily Brief, the classified intelligence assessment delivered to the President of the United States every morning. LigNet also sends breaking news emails to our membership list. If there is a development of global proportions or a terror alert, our subscribers are always the first to know. I hope you now have a better understanding of what LigNet is, but more importantly, recognize how truly invaluable LigNet can be. As the old saying goes, knowledge is power.
Join LigNet for $1. Go to lignet.com.
Sure, Steve might be a bit of a hypochondriac, but he never gets sick of breaking news. This is the Steve Malzberg Show. Call Steve at 1-855-777-9660. That's 1-855-777-9660. Here's Steve.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I've got to tell you, I'm looking here. My first thought, well, one of my first thoughts when I saw the vote in the Senate on immigration was, okay, you know, who were the Republicans? I think there were 14 Republicans, 14, 15, it's about 14 Republicans who voted along with every Democrat in the Senate to give the total of 68 votes for immigration reform. And, you know, you got McCain and Rubio and Flake and Graham. But I wanted to know, and I asked the question in my own head. I said, so how did the new senator from the state of New Jersey vote? You know, the former Attorney General of the state of New Jersey, appointed by Governor Christie until October, when he could have appointed a Republican until November of 2014. Instead, he called a special election that's going to take place in October of this year. So I looked and I looked and I looked and I looked and I looked, and there he is. The newly sworn in senator. Another rhino, ladies and gentlemen. Christie appointed a rhino, or Christie is pulling his strings because the senator from New Jersey who replaced Frank Lautenberg, the Democrat, the big Republican, the Attorney General formerly of New Jersey, voted yes on immigration reform. Voted yes. Why am I not the least bit surprised? Right here on the Steve Malzberg Show.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
This is a referral service. Calls will be routed to an independent referral insurance agency.
Do you know the #1 cause of bankruptcy? No, it's not losing your job or running up credit card debt. It's not even divorce. It's medical costs. If you and your family don't have health insurance, just one serious illness or accident could be financially devastating. But now there's good news, really good news. A health insurance hotline has been established to provide health insurance for all Americans, even uninsured Americans with pre-existing conditions. Now anyone can get health insurance even if you have a pre-existing medical condition. I repeat, now anyone can get health insurance coverage. Call now for a free no-obligation quote on affordable health plans available to you. Again, this is a free hotline for anyone, even if you have pre-existing conditions. Protect you and your family from sudden unexpected medical costs. Call the free health insurance hotline right now at 1-800-910-3470. That's 1-800-910-3470. Call 1-800-910-3470.
Attention, if you've been classified as a high-risk driver due to DUI, DWI, or tickets for aggressive driving and are required to get expensive and hard-to-find SR22 auto insurance, then you must listen to this message because we can help. We're the largest insurance company in the U.S., specializing in SR22 auto insurance and focused on serving the needs of customers classified by the state as high-risk drivers. We help people get back on their feet by providing easy-to-get, low-cost SR22 insurance that anyone can afford. If you need SR22 auto insurance, or if you have it now and are paying too much, you need to call us today for your free quote at 800-836-4606. Our specialists are standing by waiting for your call. We understand people make mistakes, and we're here to help by making SR22 insurance easy to get and affordable for everyone. The call and quote are free. Call us now at 800-836-4606. That's 800-836-4606. Again, 800-836-4606.
Are payday loans ruining your life? If you have 2 or more payday loan cash advances, listen closely. You may be eligible for a program that payday loan companies don't want you to know about.
This program will get payday loan companies out of your bank account and put an end to the payday loan nightmare. Call for free information and find out if Payday Loan Support Center is right for you. Payday loan companies usually trap you into paying rates as high as 700%. We understand payday lenders' tactics. Don't let them take advantage of you anymore. All you need is 2 or more payday loans to qualify. We can help even if you're behind in collections or have bad credit.
Internet payday loans qualify for this program as well. So call 800-250-5084. That's 800-250-5084. The call is free and the consultation is free. Don't miss out. Call for your free information on payday loan relief. 800-250-5084. That's 800-250-5084. Again, 800-250-5084.
Hi, I'm Joan London, and if you're worried about your parent or a loved one living alone like I was, and you want reliable senior care information, then call A Place for Mom, the nation's largest senior living referral service. You'll get free information on assisted living, Alzheimer's care, nursing homes, even important financial information.
They had obviously researched every place, not just given me names.
Really? Yeah.
They found me a place for what she could afford, and it was magnificent.
We're now very confident that she's safe, and they just helped every step of the way, and I can't thank them enough.
So if you're struggling to find reliable senior living information, call A Place for Mom. This is a free service, and you can trust them to help you.
If you're struggling to find reliable senior living information for your mom or dad, then call or go online to get the free help you need during this turbulent time. Call now, 800-908-1254, 800-908-1254.
This is not your typical Screamfest talk show.
No.
This is the next generation of talk radio. Here is Steve Malzberg.
Political event, the 2 men talking about the lessons learned after Superstorm Sandy. But it was sure hard to ignore the politics in the air.
Now we're going to have a little fun.
It's a bromance.
A man whose reputation I have virtually ruined more than once.
There was Clooney and Pitt.
Han Solo.
Han Solo and Chewbacca.
Laugh it up, fuzzball.
But a political bromance?
If you could make federal policy just by fiat, how would you...
How great would that be?
Looks better to me all the time.
It looks much better to me all the time. Welcome back, folks. Steve Malzberg on the Steve Malzberg Show. Joining us now is our friend, political consultant, and the author of the blog on at stonezone.com, also lobbyist and strategist, and of course worked with Richard Nixon, the whole thing. Roger Stone joins us. Hey, Roger.
How are you, Steve?
Good. How are you?
Terrific. I'm in Miami Beach. How could you be bad?
I'll tell you, not bad at all. I envy you. I'm here in New York City. But anyway, okay. Before we get to Anthony Weiner, I hope you just heard this. The media talking about this bromance between Chris Christie and Bill Clinton. I am of the opinion that I'm not of the opinion. I think it's possible that Chris Christie knows his only. Now, Rush Limbaugh has been saying, apparently, I just found out today because I was in the car late, and he said, as I've been saying for the past 2 weeks, Chris Christie will seek the presidential nomination as a Democrat. I think what we saw when Clinton hugged Christie in Chicago at the Clinton Foundation thing a couple of weeks ago is a forerunner. I think it'll be a unity ticket, Hillary and Christie. What do you think about that?
I think that's wrong. Look, I'll tell you this. Republicans ought to be worried if Chris Christie runs for president as an independent. Then they really have problems. Look, you got one problem here. I like Chris Christie. He's a Jersey guy. Like you, Steve, I don't agree with him on every issue. In fact, I disagree with him on many. But I happen to like the guy, and I'm also cognizant of the fact that he's the only Republican right now who runs even within hailing distance of Hillary Clinton. Now, to me, Hillary Clinton as president, that's an abhorrent thought in my view. And Chris Christie may be the one guy who I don't agree with on everything who can beat her. And yes, I'd be for Chris Christie over Hillary Clinton any day.
But how does he get the nomination?
I think it's a very difficult path for him. Look, the Republican Party nominating process is still dominated by very conservative voters with a substantial subset of evangelical Christians. I do think the libertarian, the more libertarian-minded, the liberty wing of the party is growing, thanks to the leadership of Senator Rand Paul and others. But the party is not homogeneous. I do think that Christie is viable in the process. It's an uphill process. He'd have to figure out, does he skip Iowa? Does he not skip Iowa? I wouldn't underestimate his prospects in New Hampshire, a heavily Catholic state. But in politics, anything can happen, and it's very early. I'm not prepared to say he can't be nominated. That's for sure.
All right. Well, just by the way, and you wrote a great piece about your disappointment with Christie and the special election and the whole way he handled the death of Frank Lautenberg and the Senate seat. Well, his great former Attorney General that he handpicked to be the Republican in place until October just voted along with the Democrats and 16 other or 13 other Republicans to pass immigration reform. That's not going to sit well with conservatives either.
Well, of course, that gentleman doesn't have to face the voters. Look, I'm one who thinks that seat should have been filled in November of 14 when the term is up, and that Frank Lautenberg's term should have been filled by former Governor Thomas H. Kane as a placeholder who would be called back, frankly, to serve his country one more time, and then give Republicans a shot. If Christie was unwilling to nominate some Republican who wanted to take a shot at running for that seat, also a good idea, but if Christie wanted to be non-political, how about a statesman like Tom Kean? This fellow who's Attorney General, he seems like a very conservative guy. We're not here to debate immigration. Overall, he's certainly a qualified appointment, and I believe he's a very able man, but how much better would it be to have some hungry Republican in there in a Senate seat trying to win it and beat Cory Booker, who is a classic, he's Obama too. I mean, that's the next generation of Obama right there. Absolutely. All right, let's talk about, I don't know who Weiner is the next generation of. Maybe Weiner is the next generation. I've seen the latest polls. He's ahead, but it's very close. He is ahead by an inch.
You know that everything we say is going to warrant this.
No, in all honesty,
a rim
I really
shot.
think that I think Steve, I think his hard support will peter out by election.
All right, no, but let's get serious for a second and talk about this. You know, you got the Marist poll, the Quinnipiac poll, and first it showed that he took the first lead over Christine Quinn, who's the current president of the city council, and now then he was even with two other candidates, and now he's down a point. This is going to be a runoff. Nobody's going to gain a majority.
That's absolutely true.
Right.
So first of all, let me illuminate you from my point of view. These polls speak as much about the weakness of Christine Quinn as they do the potential strength of Anthony Weiner or any other contender. A front runner at 24 isn't a front runner. This is anybody's ballgame. I happen to think you have a bum poll here. I suspect that Weiner was, until this headline, probably still a couple points down. Quinnipiac did not show him leading, but within hailing distance of her. Bill Thompson right behind. He's the guy to watch here, in my opinion. It's important to recognize that de Blasio and John Liu, the other two candidates, will still each get in the 8, 9, 10 range, and therefore they'll affect the outcome of the race, even though they themselves can't be nominated. So this is still, this is still a very open Democratic primary, and the outcome of the Democratic primary completely determines whether a long shot like Joe Lhota, Republican Libertarian Joe Lhota, has a shot in the general election.
Well, yeah, okay.
Against Christine Quinn, that's a viable race. Against Anthony Weiner, that's a viable race. Bill Thompson's probably the toughest Democrat to beat because he holds together the old Democratic coalition.
Right, and he's got the support. Right, and he's got the support of the teachers' union right now. He may get the support of other unions.
African-Americans, a near monolithic African-American vote.
Right.
He's got Hank Scheinkoff, who's probably the best Democratic strategist in New York Democratic politics today.
And Roger, 4 years ago, 4 years
in his ear.
4 years ago, he barely lost to Bloomberg after spending no money compared to what Bloomberg spent.
Well, because Steve, I think it's because it has to do with the demographics of the city of New York City. New York City is not a majority white city anymore. The white Catholic suburbs and the white enclaves in Manhattan have shrunk. And the new population is black and Asian and Latino. So it's changing the complexion of New York. Bloomberg spent hundreds of millions for re-election. This guy spent nothing, but everybody who was a person of color voted for him. That's why he became so close. And of course, he got a respectable share of white liberals as well, and probably a few Republicans.
We're talking to Roger Stone here on the Steve Malzberg Show, but let me ask you about this race. Christine Quinn, I think the reason she's dropped so much is not because people are in love with Anthony Weiner or anybody else. I think she's gone so far to the left. She's pushing through this bill. There was a vote today in the city council, and they voted to have a Justice Department oversight for the NYPD. I mean, they're looking to...
The irony of that, of course, is that this is all tailored to the Democratic primary. Democratic primary voters will consider that a victory for more liberal policies regarding keeping our streets safe. These are the same people who will be screaming when crime skyrockets because the police are not being given the tools they need to keep our families and our homes and our businesses and our relatives and friends safe.
No, I understand that.
This is liberal thinking.
Yeah, but I think people like Anthony Weiner, who will not go that route, and probably Thompson, who will not go that route. I think.
First of all, let's be clear about Anthony Weiner. Although I think these numbers in the poll are interesting, he was at 20. His problem is that he has a ceiling before he bumps into people who really don't like him. He's got huge negatives from his, tweet your meat, lose your seat adventure, as I like to call it.
Can you say that on the radio and TV? I guess so.
We just did.
That's funny. I like that. But Uma Abedin, his wife, who stayed in the shadows, Hillary's confidant, who's now under
the woman who's under federal investigation.
I was just going to say she's under federal investigation herself now, but she was holding now she's holding, and I don't make this up, Women for Weiner events.
Good. I urge all of the women to go there and ask her what she thinks of the plight of the what she thinks is what is her position and her views on the Palestinian situation.
Yeah.
I'd like to hear that. Yuma. Let us know.
I would like to hear that too. Hey, listen.
Who are the oppressors, Yuma? You tell us.
Roger, always great to talk to you, sir. Hey, when you get back to New York and out of the Miami sunshine, stop up the studio. We'll do some time up here, okay?
I'm going to be there next week. So
all
I'll
right,
see.
all right. Give us a ring. Roger Stone, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much, sir. And his blog is stonezone.com. So check that out. Hey, he's a man who's not afraid to say what he say. What your meat, lose your seat? I didn't even hear it, but I did hear it. What? Tweak your meat? Tweet your meat. Lose your seat. Here, it definitely deserves. Thank you so much. I was remiss in not hitting that the first time. Oh boy, yeah. Look, Anthony Weiner. There was a column today by I think Bob McManus or something in the New York Post, and I heard it read on a radio station while I was driving in. And basically, whether it was from the column or whether it was the host saying it, they were saying that they were calling him a pervert, a textbook definition of a pervert who, if he had done what he did, in public, on a subway, in a supermarket, would be in jail. But he did it on the internet, and they claim, and I didn't even know this, that one of the girls who got one of the tweets of his private parts was a 17-year-old girl, underage. This is what they were saying on the air. So, look, Anthony Weiner, Rudy Giuliani says he's not surprised by any of this. I've always found Anthony Weiner's personality to be, he walks around. I don't even know the word. I don't know if it's narcissistic. I don't know if it's illusions of grandeur, whatever. But Anthony Weiner walks around like and the media made him into some sex symbol of Congress. Now I'm a guy, and I don't look at guys and say, "Oh, he's good looking. He's not good looking." But to me, you tell me Anthony Weiner is good looking and a sex symbol, and I always said, "What?" No offense to anyone who's short, but he's very short. He's got a nose that's bigger than mine. He's skinny as a toothpick. This guy's a sex symbol of Capitol Hill? I never understood that, but he believed it. And his arrogance on the floor of the House, his arrogance in denying that he tweeted, my name is Weiner, so someone's pulling a joke on me here. Very funny. And then lying and lying and lying and lying. And then when he announced his resignation, it was like he just won an election. I want to thank everybody who worked for me. I want to thank my parents. You want to thank your parents? How about getting on your knees and crying to your parents, you bum? There's something wrong with him, obviously. Which people, how many people out there listening to me that are anonymous in their jobs, not famous, not a congressman, would tweet out while you're married, while your wife is pregnant, while you're having a baby, would tweet out pictures of your private parts to someone you know, let alone people you don't know, and he's a congressman and did this. You got to be touched in the head. And you're going to let him run a city? Can you imagine? And if he won, he will not. If he won, can you imagine? Every tweet he ever sent to any other woman, they will come forward. It will be a circus. What does his wife think she's opening up the door for here? What does she think she's going to get? Again, I go back to all he did. All he's been doing is apologizing. I can't believe I did that to my wife. I love my wife. She didn't deserve it. My wife. And yet he admits there are other pictures of his penis out there that women have that haven't come forward yet. So why don't you crawl into a hole and go away? Why are you coming out here and just opening the door for someone to come forward again and again and say, here, and then what are you going to do? You're going to put your wife through this again? See, I don't get the whole thing. I don't even understand it. But that seems to be where we're headed. Oh, he said he seems to be where we're headed. There you go. But I don't think Anthony Weiner could win. Oh, no, it just took my whole thing off him. The whole screen disappeared. It's not a big deal. The whole screen disappeared. I don't know why. I hit the rim shot, and it's gone. Well, I was going to say he can't win by a long shot. And I was going to hit it again. You got the rim shot there? Ba-dum-bum. No. All right. And I was going to say, let's not get too excited. Ba-dum-bum. Everything you say about Anthony Weiner. is a double entendre. You can't help yourself. It's a pun if you want to go there too. All right. Enough of Anthony Weiner. I've had enough of Anthony Weiner. And did I mention I've had enough of Anthony Weiner? When we come back, ladies and gentlemen, Rachel Maddow says the whole IRS thing is over. I want you to hear what Rachel Maddow said, how the whole IRS scandal is over, right here on the Steve Malzberg Show.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
A tragic fire, a break-in, a fall. Look, accidents and emergencies really do happen. The difference between life and death could be as simple as the push of a button. That's where Medical Guardian comes in. Are you afraid that something tragic may happen with no one around to help? What if you or your elderly loved one had a fall and lay for hours or even days before any help arrived? What if it was just too late? You don't have to live in fear that something terrible could happen. It's time you discovered Medical Guardian. Life-saving help at the push of a button. Get the peace of mind you need for yourself and your loved ones. Call 800-550-3470 right now. Be one of the first 100 callers and get your first month of Medical Guardian free. 800-550-3470. Call now and get your first month for free. The help you need is at your fingertips. Ensure your safety today with Medical Guardian. 800-550-3470. That's 800-550-3470.
Are you at least 62 years old like me? Could you use an extra $50,000, $100,000 or more to live a better life? Then please consider the benefits a reverse mortgage can provide to you. With a reverse mortgage, you can have your mortgage payments stopped altogether and get equity out of your home to live on. And you can use the money to help you live a better life. How nice would that be, not to have a mortgage payment? Qualifying for a reverse mortgage is simple, since there are no income, asset, employment, or credit requirements. However, you must be 62 years or older, own your home outright, or have a very low balance on the mortgage, and be prepared to live in it throughout the rest of the loan. Call now for more information.
800-831-1560. 800-831-1560. 800-831-1560. That's 800-831-1560.
Attention hip implant patients. Are you in constant pain? Have you received a letter from your doctor about your implant? Have you had or need a revision surgery? Do you have high levels of metal, chromium, or cobalt in your blood? Over 90,000 hip implant devices have been recalled due to defects and failures resulting in revision or replacement surgery. If you have a recalled hip implant, you may be entitled to substantial financial compensation. Call 800-460-1530 to see if your implant is affected by the recalls. If you or a loved one has a defective or recalled hip implant, you may be entitled to substantial financial compensation. Call 800-460-1530. That's 800-460-1530. Protect your legal rights today. Call 800-460-1530. This is an advertisement, not valid in all states. Paid non-attorney spokesperson. iLawsuit.com is an advertising group that represents lawyers advertising their services and is a free matching service for consumers. It is not a law firm or lawyer referral service.
Do you owe the IRS? Do you have unfiled tax returns? Have you received a wage garnishment or bank levy? Maybe a lien has been filed against you. OMG Tax can help you with all your IRS tax problems. Don't wait another second. Take action now. Call my team at OMG Tax. Honest and professional, we don't make false promises. If you owe back taxes, or if the IRS is garnishing your paycheck, you need help now. OMG Tax can help you get your life back to normal. If you're serious about handling your tax matter, call OMG Tax now and get the peace of mind you deserve. Don't let the IRS take your next paycheck. Stop waiting and call our team at OMG Tax. OMG Tax has a straightforward, no-nonsense approach and has helped many Americans resolve their IRS nightmare. Call OMG Tax now.
Call 1-800-255-6485. That's 1-800-255-6485. 800-255-6485.
3 a.m. and you're up again for the third time. It's not just affecting your sleep, it's interrupting your daily life. Frequent trips to the bathroom due to an aging prostate is a common concern, but you can now do something about it with Prostate Revive. Doctor-formulated Prostate Revive is an all-natural dietary supplement packed with 15 powerful ingredients, focused on improving prostate health by targeting the two main sources of prostate concerns, rogue testosterone and inflammation. And now, in this limited time radio offer, you can try Prostate Revive absolutely free. That's a free bottle, a 30-day supply of Prostate Revive, risk-free. Plus, if you call right now, you'll also receive our free report, A Doctor's Guide to a Healthy Prostate. Call now for details on getting your free bottle, plus our doctor's report. Call 1-800-659-REVIVE. That's 1-800-659-REVIVE. Don't be a victim of an aging prostate. Start getting the sleep you need and get your life back with Prostate Revive. Claim your risk-free bottle now at 1-800-659-REVIVE.
Microphones hot. Satellite link established. Studio lights illuminated. Cameras rolling. Audio and video encoders firing ones and zeros. Internet stream is streaming. The most technology advanced radio show is on the air. Here's the captain of this enterprise, Steve Malzberg.
You folks know anything about climate change? Do you care? I used to know a little bit about it, but I don't care anymore. Nothing we can do about it. And on the bright side, I got a closet full of short-sleeve shirts I never get to wear.
Oh, great. Letterman trying to be a little sarcastically funny there. Of course, he does care about climate change. I'm sure he's all for raising electric rates by 25, 30, 40%, having people lose their jobs, putting more regulations in unilaterally by President Obama because he is our savior. And, of course, that's what's going to be happening if the president gets his way and goes forward with his announced climate change regulations that he announced the other day. Now, Rachel Maddow. I want you to listen to Rachel Maddow, cut 42.
We have some developing news that we just have to share. Nelson Mandela's daughter,
my
Cindy Mandela, tells NBC.
mistake. That's 42. Shouldn't be that one.
16 of this IRS BOLO Be on the Lookout report from November 2010. The crucial unredacted part here you see in the fine print, the key word the agents are supposed to look for down there on the left, progressive. Here's what IRS agents were supposed to be aware of. Political activities. Common thread is the word progressive. Activities appear to lean toward a new political party. Activities are partisan and appear anti-Republican. You see references to blue as being progressive. Applicants submit Form 1023. Their progressive activities appear to show that C3 may not be an appropriate status. Smoking gun, right? President Obama and the jackbooted accountants in his Politburo were targeting liberals, starving them out to tip the election, using their hand-picked treasury thugs like a Soviet-made billy club to silence freedom-loving blue progressive liberal types. Das vidanya, Comrade Obama. We caught you now.
Okay, well, first of all, everything she says is written on a teleprompter, by the way. Nothing I say is written on a teleprompter, just so you know that. Number two, let me give you the next one here, and I'll tell you why she's dead wrong. Cut 43.
Or maybe the IRS Inspector General should explain not disclosing until now that the IRS was scrutinizing tax-avoiding political groups, both on the conservative side and on the liberal side. Turns out it wasn't just Tea Party groups, it was also groups labeled progressive, which means this whole thing is over now, right? Maybe this whole thing is over now. I think maybe this thing is over now. What do you think?
I don't think so. I don't think the whole thing's over now, Rachel. Rachel, it's not over because the Inspector General that you referred to talked about how while progressive might have been a term that they searched for, they did not give the same scrutiny and hassle and hard time and prohibitive questioning and demands that they gave to the Tea Party groups. They targeted and hassled 100% of the Tea Party groups that they found. They gave questions to only 30% of the progressive groups they found, and even then, it wasn't the same standard. It wasn't the same standard at all. So, we heard that from the Inspector General himself. Okay? It wasn't the same standard. Don't be fooled by this, well, they went after progressives. That's why you haven't heard one progressive group come forward and say, they did this to us, they did that to us, because they only really hassled and prevented Tea Party groups and conservatives from getting the status they needed or made it take that much longer. So, no, Rachel, it's not over. It's not over. And by the way, Rachel, it's not over. But the show's over on the Steve Malzberg Show. Thank you.